every... What day is it? Tuesday night, his ghost returns to wreak his horrible vengeance.
Oh, but tonight's Tuesday night.
Then he'll be coming.
You okay?
I don't know.
And the behind-the-scenes footage, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And I know it at the time.
Oh, no.
You've said, apparently, that you want to have your helmet off in future Mandalorian episodes. Is that true?
Oh, that is not true.
If you had told me a year ago that we would ever go straight to streaming in any way, shape, or form, I would have flipped out. Like, I'm not for that plan in general. You know, I'm very pro theatrical release.
What the
Okay. If you're making it and the fans don't dig what you're doing, I don't know that I could keep doing it. If you want to connect with the fans, but I have to tell you, I've never had more fun doing anything.
What could possibly go wrong?
Say, kids, what time is it?
Tonight's Tuesday night.
And the last Tuesday night of the year. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
This is going to be our conclusive episode of season 1 of Tuesday Night Tights. We've done, believe it or not, we've done 11 of these in a row now. We have not missed a week since we decided to do it back in October. So we're rocking and rolling with our cast of thousands. Good to see you guys. How was your Merry Xmas? Actually, I saw you guys.
Oh yeah, we saw.
I know, on Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's good.
It was warm. Did you notice how warm it was this year?
It was. It was like
super warm,
70 or something like that. It's crazy.
Not by the end of the night, it wasn't.
No, on Christmas Eve.
Hey, Clay. I know Clay. How are you, man?
On Christmas Eve, it was pretty warm. On Christmas Eve
yeah,
day.
it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was like, I walked outside and I was like, holy crap, this is like a spring day. But
yes. Then we walked out of the movie and it was freezing.
It was freezing.
I wonder if it was the movie, though.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, let's quickly introduce the audience to our little cast here. To my that way is Lady Geek Time 5-Tac-3Y. How are you?
5-Tac-3Y. That's so, I'm great. I'm so great.
Good to see you. And below us, Judah Buddha.
Hello.
How are you, Jude?
Good.
Sorry you're having trouble uploading your toy review video.
I know. I did a review on my Christmas action figure that I got. Pimp Daddy Destro, man. Look at him. I mean, he was so fun to like do a review on and pose. I got really into him.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And there's a whole story about Pimp Daddy Destro. There's actually a story that you can find out if you watch the video.
Well,
interesting story.
If you can't upload it after this, send it over. I'll do it. But
yeah,
I'm drinking my Cara Dune tea right now.
How is it?
It is awesome.
That was my
Jude
Christmas
gave
gift.
it to me.
How good is it? Good.
Aww.
Oh, it's delicious. I love it. It's good for the throat.
I knew I did well then.
That's right. So I guess we should start. I put the background intentionally. I guess we should start right where we all left off with each other 4 days ago. Wonder Woman 84. I did a review on this channel. I'm sure some of you have seen it. So you know my thoughts, and I'll go last, but we can go around the horn. Stacy, what were your thoughts?
Well, I will say this. When I watch a movie, pretty much any movie, I try to always take away the positives from everything. I don't concentrate on the negatives unless it's really bad. So I'll start off by saying I really like the beginning of this movie.
The beginning, which beginning? There were two.
The beginning where it kind of flashes back to Diana as a little girl in the competition, and I like that part of the movie. That was really good. Yeah, it was kind of inspiring. All I could think about was like my little niece who's 7, and I'm like, I can't wait for her to see this. I want her to watch this part. Like, I don't feel like she needs to watch the whole thing, but I want her to watch a fierce little lady.
Yeah.
And then with a little bit of disappointment, but like I think it was good. It was fun, but the story was a little sad. It was a little lacking for me. I mean, especially compared to the first one with such a big, plot, big bad guy, where this was kind of, I felt a little lacking, in the whole thing. I mean, she's really pretty though, Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
she is pretty. And when you see her on the big screen, she's prettier.
Yes, that's the only reason I wanted to go.
I don't really. Yeah, I'm not a big. I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't really want to. I don't know. I feel like I need to watch it again to like really have.
Ooh.
Specific.
Ooh,
I'll watch it again.
Really want to endure that again?
I have HBO Max.
You might need a drink.
It wasn't that. I've seen.
If I was home, I would have shut it off.
Really?
Yes.
I do love Pedro Pascal. I mean, it creeps me out without his mustache, though. Like I don't know.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Something's missing there, and I'm not usually a mustache kind of girl, but he knows how to rock the mustache. He looks like a different person without it.
Jude.
So here's the thing. Again, everybody probably, if you listen to our show, you'd know that this was the first time I've watched a movie in the movie theater in over a year. So I had a lot of anticipation. And the theater that we went to was perfect. They had the reclining seats. The seats warmed up. I mean, thank you, Stacey. Yeah. That was like the best Christmas Day Eve. To sit there in a nice reclined. I mean, I felt like I've never been on a plane first class, but I felt like that was first class at a movie theater. Like that's probably what first class feels like on a plane. So shout outs to the Mystic Luxury. What is it? Mystic Luxury Cinema Theaters. Great time. So in that aspect, I enjoyed the experience of going out to watching a movie, but the movie itself, unfortunately, wasn't. I mean. It wasn't terrible while I was watching it, but after it ended and I had time to kind of suck it all in. Because, most movies, when you watch them, especially superhero movies, you want to turn your brain off.
Mm-hmm.
And
this one accomplishes that.
Unfortunately, with this movie, you kind of just said, okay, that doesn't kind of make sense. And so while the movie's going on, you're trying to actually fill in that plot hole, or you don't even know if it's a plot hole. You're kind of like, okay. And then, like, of course, when all this stuff is happening, it sort of like stacks up, and then you can't forget about it. So the whole movie, you're kind of like, yeah, that one part really bothered me, and now this bothers me, and now this bothers me, and then all of a sudden you're thinking about the movie while it's happening and trying to connect things that probably aren't. There's no explanation for it, even if you watch it a second time. And I felt like, I don't know. I thought it was entertaining. But it wasn't a good movie, if that makes sense. It was too long. It was way too freaking long.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean,
and it could have been the pacing that threw me off too. I don't think you know what the movie felt like to me? It felt like a rough cut. It felt like they didn't have a final cut of the movie, and they were just like, "Just put it out, man! Like, just put it out."
Which is absolutely ludicrous. It's been delayed 3 times, and they've done reshoots. This was a half-baked. I mean, it felt like a first draft script too. I won't bore people with what I've already said about it. It was appallingly bad. If you go back and look at the first one, everything from the cinematography to the editing to everything is horrible. Nothing makes sense. Every scene's too long. That opening scene you're talking about should have been 3 minutes.
It was a little long.
It was like 20. It was. I knew right then and there was going to be a problem because it was 20 minutes long. Nothing happens.
Right.
And it goes on and on. It's funny to me how Patty Jenkins, someone who's in love with I would call a dated practice of the Matrix style speed ramping and slow motion for every goddamn action scene with horrible wire work, by the way, and terrible visual effects. She overdoes the slow-mo and the speed ramping, but she's never heard of a montage. Like all the scenes where Pedro Pascal is going to these leaders, it's the same scene over and over in real time, same dialogue. I was like, this could be done in a fucking montage.
Yeah, it's true.
We get this is horrible. None of the movie made sense. Kristen Wiig shouldn't have even been in it. There was no reason for her. Her character was awful, and she was awful.
Right.
She's
Or she should have been the only villain.
Right. I'm so awkward. It was everything about it. Everything about it was terrible. Even the art direction. Why was that in the 80s? There was no reason to even put that in the 80s.
I agree.
The 80s had no impact on the story. It was just
it's
people
in right now.
Pants and there's another scene, the wardrobe thing with like 8 or 9 wardrobe.
Way too long.
Does Patty Jenkins not understand the rule of threes? It's funny 3 times, not 9 times.
Right.
It was just everything about it. I was sitting there the whole time going, okay, maybe something will happen. Maybe this will go somewhere on the next scene. It was boring. It was poorly paced, like you said, Jude. Horribly edited. Terrible cinematography. Awful visual effects. Terrible wire work. And the makeup on Cheetah, all that. I kept telling you, Jude, all summer, don't worry, that's unfinished. That's when it gets released, it will not look that bad.
I felt like they darkened it even more.
It was horrid.
Just so they could hide the CG.
Oh, it was awful.
I don't know if you
and
guys
they spend the whole movie building up her character just to dispatch her in about 2 minutes. It was
she could have been the only thing. She could have been the only villain in the movie, and it would have been fine. I don't know why. I mean, I felt like there's 2 villains, and they kind of just.
He wasn't even a villain.
He wasn't.
No, he kind of wasn't. You're right.
Character.
It's like, oh, my life was tough, so I want to have all the power.
It goes back to what you were saying, the victimhood thing, Stacey.
Yeah, it's just
the overall theme, and I don't know what the message is too. Like, don't dream for things because it's pointless.
Don't work hard and be good, because then people will be feel bad about themselves, and then they'll want to get revenge on you.
It's a participation trophy. Yeah, movie. It's be envious of people who worked hard to get something, and you should just get it for wishing for it.
I just felt
it was appallingly bad. And if you go and put it side by side with the first one,
one's so great.
The first one blows it away.
It doesn't even feel like it's part of the same thing. And they took her shield away, they took her sword away. Now she's throwing her headband. Like, what the hell?
And
she's
she
coming
flies.
up with magic. She's magical. She can. Oh, I saw my dad do this, and I made a cup vanish once. But now I'll make a moving jet just vanish. It was just plot conveniences to get from one side of the world to the other overnight, just because they had to. It was just one. How about every single man on the street that finds Kristen Wiig attractive is also a fucking rapist? So every guy is a freaking rapist, and it contradicts the feminism message where she's like, oh, I want to be noticed. Then she gets noticed, and then she has to beat everybody up who noticed.
Yeah.
It was so all over the place. It was a fucking hot mess, and it was. I'm stunned, and I bet Lucasfilm is so happy they gave Patty Jenkins a contract for the next Star Wars movie. She wrote, produced, and directed it. The first one, she had no hand in the script.
Oh, really?
She just directed it. Zack Snyder wrote the script with someone else. Zack Snyder was one of the producers. Zack Snyder had a vision for the whole Justice League thing, and that's why the first one has a different Wonder Woman than this one was. This one was, we want to make it like goofy and happy, just like Aquaman and Shazam. So, Patty, do whatever you want.
And it's a little rapey that like he's in somebody else's body.
Yeah.
And they had sex.
Thank
like
you.
I thought
That was gender swapped.
That is. And what happens if it was Superman and that was Lois Lane?
Exactly.
And it was a woman.
Some other woman, and they're like hooking,
Right.
I totally said that afterwards. I was like,
Just the idea that Diana's okay with the fact that Steve has infiltrated a meat puppet. He's just taking this guy's life away. This human who had his own life, and maybe what if the guy had his own like?
Oh, he had his job.
How did the universe choose him? Like, why?
Now he cheated on his girlfriend.
I know.
It.
Right.
He lost his job because he didn't show up for all that time. You know what I mean?
It was. Wow. It was. And like you said, Jude, when I walked out, I said, well, it was really dull, but eh.
Yeah.
And then the more I thought about it,
yeah, I try not
I waited until yesterday to do my review because as I was processing it, I'm like, oh, and then there's this. No. And even then, I did like an 18-minute review and I left this bunch of stuff out.
That's right.
It's just too much to say.
It's just stocks.
Yeah,
It's
you're right.
The movie was going on. It was just stacking up. I was like, okay, wait a second. I can't. This movie won't even slow down for me to even figure it out.
Slow down. It was hardly moving at all. What are you talking about?
Well, the way he was doing all these wishes and shit, I was like, okay, how is this happening? Like, it didn't make sense to me until I had to really think about it.
And it was borrowing from that truck scene, the convoy scene was almost the Raiders.
No, it was immediately
way worse.
That was so long too. Yeah.
Bad.
No, the whole thing about the satellite and
Batman Forever
and touching everybody with the wishes.
I was like trying the Jim Carrey thing in Batman Forever when he.
Right, but I was trying to like process that in the theater, and I was like, "Does this make sense?" And I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, Clay asks, "Why couldn't he just come back? Meeting him later was so cringeworthy."
Yeah,
I agree.
Why couldn't he just come back as himself? Why did he have to take another person's body?
Like, why do you have to even do so much to explain it? Like, really, you don't have to explain anything else. You have to like get too deep into this. Like,
such a disappointment, especially with all the hype and the waiting.
I was worried. Remember, I was worried. And it's funny because when I watch a movie the first time, it's very emotional. It's kind of like I don't like look for specifics and details, and I think that's. I mean, I definitely don't feel like I need to go back and watch it. Like, it definitely didn't leave me with that feeling that I wanted to see it again. I mean, but I was fine with it until we start thinking about all the ways it was wrong.
That's what I mean. The whole time, you're just like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. I mean, as much as you want to ignore it, you can't. You can't ignore it.
I think it might have been Az or maybe it was Tom Connors. One of them on Friday Night Tights brought up a point that in 1984, Beverly Hills Cop was made. Mm-hmm. And in Beverly Hills Cop, you only see two people dressed as ludicrously as everybody's dressed in this movie. And in that scene with the two ludicrously dressed people, Eddie Murphy points and laughs at him. Mm-hmm. And that was in 1984.
Right.
Like they clearly did it to capitalize on the Stranger Things and, the whole thing. But
it's super trendy. Yeah. 80s now are really trendy.
We got chats piling in. Con guy. Hello. Clay, lassoing from the RPG to scoop up those kids. It was, you know what that reminded me of, Clay? It reminded me of the old Spider-Man cartoons where he'd shoot the web into the sky and it would just whatever. I mean, no explaining needed. She's lassoing into lightning bolts and everything. It was just like.
And I love how you don't get to see her in the beginning. It's just you just see this thing whiz by. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
You're right, and the kids don't react at all in that scene, and just like the scene in the mall at the beginning with that little girl.
Yeah, it was
same kind of thing.
She throws her into the teddy bears.
Mr. Doug, this is why I didn't want to go when you asked. Heard it was a dumpster fire piece of crap. Not wasting my time or money when I have sick kitties at home. Well, you could watch it for free-ish. I guess you could watch it for free because you could get the HBO Max trial.
Is it worth watching for free?
I'm disappointed.
That might be a couple hours you'll never get back. You sure you want to watch it? You could be doing something else.
It's the only, like you said, Stacey. I try to find positives too, and I'd say the positive would be Chris Pine.
Yeah,
and the chemistry between the two of them, except they had too many scenes that went nowhere where they're walking around.
Really weird in her apartment, just unnecessary. There was a lot of dead time.
I felt like the dialogue was also very awkward. Like when she went out to lunch with that whole conversation was super awkward. It was kind of like The Room awkward. The way they were talking back and forth, I was like, it's kind of weird. It didn't feel like it flowed, and what they were saying back and forth just seemed off.
Yeah,
I mean the dialogue was kind of janky as well.
It really felt like a first draft script to me.
It felt like a rough cut. It should have been, and it should have been cut down. It was too long.
Oh, most of the scenes were pointless. I mean, they never explain why Pedro Pascal has an Asian son.
Thank you. It was very confusing.
I think they
if they had shown his ex-wife or his girlfriend or whatever, and there would have been some context, okay. But it was confusing. I was like,
all they had to do was have a woman drop the kid off at the office.
Yes, or a picture of them as a family or anything.
Right.
It didn't make any kind of sense to me, and like I was just like confused.
I didn't understand why, the movie where they have the MacGuffin, why Pedro Pascal had to become the MacGuffin. Couldn't he just carry that thing around with him? Just take it with you. He absorbs it, and it was
confusing.
Made no sense,
Yeah, I believe if you're gonna hype something like this, you better come fully like loaded with something decent. You can't come in with something with shit. And a lot of people were looking forward to this movie because of COVID, because there was nothing good, really. Well, nothing blockbuster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Always a good idea too to fly through explosives, right? And again, that too. The Smithsonian has
really
a
long
reserved fuel.
Yeah, a fuel jet. Just
fuel
happens
jet.
to be Smithsonian, right?
And Chris Pine going from flying a biplane 70 years
Yeah.
later.
But he's a natural.
By the time he got to the end of the runway, he had it down.
I know, and then like how they flew back in like less than like 3 hours or 2 hours to get back to the
But he's such a good pilot.
from
The
Sudan
convenience
or
is
whatever.
everywhere. Like when they go to Cairo to look for Pedro Pascal, do they use their skills to track him down or find clues? No, they just happen to pass him on the road going.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. It was just
Because there's only one
stupid-
road in and one road out.
There he goes. He just went by. Turn around. It was so
And that's what I
dumb.
mean. That was like a lot of times when I was in the movie theater, I was like, wait a second. This kind of
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
You can't fool me. There's something wrong here,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like. I'll tell you, like this is the first time this ever happened. He does it at home all the time, but my husband fell asleep while we were watching the movie. Like legit, like I had to really jostle him to wake him up.
I'm not surprised. If
Yeah.
I wasn't munching that giant bag of popcorn, I probably would have.
I guess that should have been a good,
I
red
was
flag.
really trying to be optimistic and wait for something to happen.
Yeah.
Like I kept thinking, all right, that scene didn't work, but the next one will.
Mm.
Because I wanted it to be good. I was the one being optimistic all summer. When other people were like, "Oh, that doesn't look very good," I'm like, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine." The first one was great. I did enjoy the Diana Minerva fight scene in the White House, spiraling through the bracelet bash was cool, and I did enjoy the armor versus cheetah scene. The armor thing, that's another one that comes up. I've heard a lot of people on YouTube baffled that she suddenly was in the armor. It was edited so poorly. There was a shot of her going back to get it.
Yeah.
And she like unzips the thing it's hanging in. So, but she unzips it like 4 inches. So you just see a little bit of the gold and then it cuts.
Yeah.
And again, like if you're going to do that, like just like show her, get the thing, just show her, pull it out. Like because people are like, where did she get that from? And it's kind of funny too, that in the middle of a crisis, she decides to go home first. Got to stop at the old APT and get the old outfit.
Right. I also think it would have made sense for her flying if she had that suit on, because the suit had wings.
They
Instead of her,
were trying so hard to be like the Superman. The
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
like the whole
Especially when
flying
she's
thing.
hearing his voice in her head. And
Yeah. And it's really weird. It felt like the Leia scene where Leia's going through outer space. Like all of a sudden now she could fly, and I was like, okay, is she just
Mary
leaping
Poppins.
really far, or is she actually flying?
Mary Poppins.
She
yeah.
caught the wind.
So I mean,
So
I
well,
do. Do people watch these?
The thing that was interesting was that, like, I liked that that she was vulnerable. It stressed me out that she was, but I think that's kind of a good thing every once in a while to see the good guy be vulnerable and
I
get
agree.
the crap beat out of them.
Right.
it was
It's
just too spotty.
right.
Yeah.
But that was also, I felt like a tribute to the Superman movie where Superman lost his powers. Remember when he said, "I don't want the powers anymore"?
Or
And he went,
Spider-Man.
yeah, and
Tobey
he went
Maguire,
right. Tobey Maguire in the second movie. And then when he went to the diner, he got his ass kicked by that trucker guy. And then sort of like, but they did it really well at the end of the movie when he got his powers back, and you clapped. In this, you were just like, okay, she got her powers back.
Well, I actually thought that was the best scene in the movie when she
Yeah.
When she walked away.
I called it before it even came. I knew that was going to happen. She was going to have to give up the thing that she wanted the most to save the world.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of obvious, but it was touching.
I wonder if she did pee when she went to get that gold suit, because once you do the gold suit, you can't get out very easily, and there's no pee.
That's true. She was being subtle with her bathroom needs.
Wonder Woman doesn't pee. Come on.
Right.
She flies.
But
Just
that was I thought the best scene in the thing where she had to say goodbye to him again. And I liked his line where he's like, "You don't have to miss me because I'm already long gone."
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
basically, this has been an illusion anyway. So
Yep. You just got a little extra. That wasn't. Yeah.
And then the poor guy just woke up and he's in some strange
He didn't even
outside
get to
some strange
know.
building. Like, where the fuck
By
am
the
I?
way, and I don't know who the name of the actor was they cast as the guy when she runs into him later on, but he happens to look a little bit like Lyle Waggoner, who played Steve Trevor in the Carter TV show.
Oh, really?
I
He's
didn't
got
even
a
look
really
him up.
strong resemblance. Yeah.
The
that was
ending reminded me of every Hallmark Christmas special.
God, yeah, right.
Doesn't it? Wasn't it like the same?
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I just read today Gal Gadot's like husband and two daughters were in that final scene. That one with the little girl throws the
Snow.
snowball and it hits her in the
her.
back. That's her daughter, and the little boy is Jenkins's son. And from that scene, interesting.
Yeah, I got a text from Jackie yesterday, a co-producer on the Charlton movie with me, and she goes, "I just finished Wonder Woman. It is trash." But she said I need to watch Soul. That's good.
I just watched that today.
I want to see it.
I liked it.
Clay says seeing her heal up after taking back her wish was appreciated. That was, again, I agree, Clay. I think that was like the best sequence in the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of felt like the first movie. Everything else felt like a cheap it felt like a CW made for TV movie. Like you could have put this on the CW as part of the Flashverse, and I would have been like, okay,
yeah.
You know?
What's really strange is on Rotten Tomatoes, it actually has a better audience score than it does a site score.
Are they the verified audience members though? If you click the everyone, there's a big difference.
Verified ratings 1,858.
If you look at everyone, it's a big difference, which is a lot more people.
I would think it would be the opposite. I would think that the score for the real critics would have been higher, and then the audience would have been lower.
I have yet to come across anyone on YouTube or anything that says it was decent. Everyone's just like, wow, it's bad. And I think what made it worse is that it was a $200 million blockbuster that was delayed 3 times. We were waiting all year for this thing.
And it had very shitty effects, right?
Oh, the effects were right in the first scene when the CG looked awful. It looked like a video game cutscene. Actually, I've seen video game cutscenes that look better than that. That arena looked terrible. And there was a scene where she jumps right away. She runs up this thing, little Diana. And it looked like it was so fake looking. It was
my brain like just sees past that stuff. It doesn't bother me. I don't know. Not at first.
Yeah,
Cheetah's CG bothered me the whole time it was happening.
It was kind of cheesy. Yeah,
the wire work was bad.
It was bad, and actually, I liked the first beginning with the little Diana. Like that was, I thought that scene was great.
It was fine. I mean, first thing I said is, didn't we get enough of this in the first movie? But I think they wanted to get Robin Wright in there, and they wanted to get they wanted to bring them all back.
But
badass ladies, I like them. They're awesome.
Yeah.
I would have liked it better if the Amazons factored into the story.
Yes.
Like that's where you get them in there. They find out about this stone thing. They find out that it's been misused because it's basically, I guess, what they find out is that it's the rock that used to belong to basically the equivalent of Loki, right?
Right.
So the DC Loki or whatever lore she's into, are they Greek gods in hers?
I think so, right?
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, but I think it would have been better if like Robin Wright and some of the Amazons show up to help deal with that rather than having a flashback of little kid Diane. We got that message in the first one. We get it. She's a gifted kid and she's destined for greatness. We get it.
No, but I think didn't it kind of lend itself to the whole thing where, and it's funny because I just mentioned this like in passing when I was talking about this before I even saw it with my son, is that she does all this for the world, and it's like that's what the whole thing with like Steve coming back is that like what does she get out of all of this? Like like she has to be completely like selfless all the time, like saving all these people and doing all this good, and what the one good thing that she had in her life is gone. But dealing with that and that whole thing, I like that aspect of it. I think that was kind of important. Character.
Kind of like the hero. And
so does that mean now that she's letting go of him, Superman or Batman might have a chance?
Well, and again, they ruined their own continuity with this because in BVS, Bruce Wayne is working really hard to figure out who this mysterious woman is, who has not showed herself as Wonder Woman to the world yet, and that takes place now, or in 2016. So the fact that she's running around in the 80s as Wonder Woman contradicts the whole
right.
Again, it's contradicting the Zack Snyder thing, and I have a headline coming up about that. But they definitely have deviated from their continuity, and they barely had any to begin with. So
yeah, and you can't make
DCEU is a hot mess.
Yeah, and you can't make a better cut of this movie. It's already damaged.
No, but I've been thinking about ripping it and doing my best. I can probably
the Larson cut.
Yeah, I'll make it like 90 minutes. At least it'll flow. It still won't make sense, but it'll flow.
There's going to be a lot of meat taken out of that.
Yeah. So I was actually excited the night we were at the theater because I could not believe the amount of people that were there.
Yeah.
On Christmas night, it was in Mystic, so it's kind of a small town out in the middle of nowhere.
It didn't feel like it.
They almost sold it out.
Yeah.
The show we were at. And to come back and find out that it grabbed $16.7 million over that couple of days is pretty darn good.
Yeah, with so many theaters not even open.
Not even open, and it's encouraging that people could have sat home on their couch and chose not to. I think that's really, really encouraging. That was good to see. I mean, it's not going to come close to what the first one made 103 in the same time frame.
No.
Well,
but Tenet made only 9.4 back in September, so it's almost doubled what Tenet made. So that's a good sign.
Well,
globally, it's got 68.3 million in 41 countries in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, well, I would say a week and a half because we didn't have it. That they got a week head start.
The UK had it a week before, right?
Yeah. No, the whole world had it a week before us internationally. So, here it is. The film's cumulative worldwide tally is now 85. Okay, sorry about that. They have to make, 200 million was the budget, and then that doesn't get into the marketing and everything else that they've put into it. So I'm guessing they probably won't turn a profit until they're somewhere around 500 mil.
And they got to release the Blu-ray, and
they aren't gonna get their money back on this thing. But I think if they recoup this cost, they'll be happy enough. They won't care about the marketing as much.
Yeah.
As a side note, the Tom Hanks movie News of the World made 2.4 million. So that's 18. That's about 19 million in 2 movies this past weekend.
Yeah,
that's not too bad considering what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I also think though that I think people are a little bit more responsible now, and they kind of are going. Like for instance, I haven't been to a movie theater in over a year, and I brought my masks, I brought my hand sanitizer, I brought everything I needed to know. I needed so that if I felt comfortable in the theater, I had it. And
I brought money for popcorn.
You did. I saw you eat that popcorn. But they did a good job with the spacing also, which I liked. 2 seats empty on your left and your right. So, and that was great. It gave me a comfortable spot to put my jacket and all my stuff. Which I loved.
We violated that. We only put a seat in between us.
I know. I did that too. I kind of jumped on space a little bit.
But when I left, I felt good. Like I didn't feel like, I think I felt comfortable enough that I'd go back if it was the same circumstances, where, people were sort of respecting your space. And
I've been going since they reopened. I've been going since August, and I haven't had.
Me too.
I've never felt skeeved. I've never felt scared.
I don't know. There was a kid that coughed behind me a couple times. I'm pretty sure he wasn't wearing a mask.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
I didn't hear anybody, really.
Yeah, right behind.
Like, you sure that wasn't me?
The other thing I noticed too, though, that it was dead quiet in there. Like nobody was doing the phone thing. Nobody was talking.
Someone was talking for a minute there. I shushed somebody.
Yeah, you did shush. I heard that.
You were the shusher.
Yeah,
I heard somebody ask the question.
Shush. Yeah, it was like she was like echoing.
But normally at those kind of movies, it's just nonstop chaos and nonsense. So that was good.
What was kind of funny too is that, like you said, Keith, people like I ordered my ticket online. You ordered your ticket online, but I was surprised when I was waiting for my drink that there was people coming in and they didn't order tickets. They were just showing up.
Yeah, they were showing up when I was in line for snacks and they were coming in like 2 at a time. And I don't think the theater expected that kind of crowd because they had two people working and they're trying to do the snack bar and the box office and they're running back and forth, and I felt bad.
There was like a party of 10 kids that came in. You could see the owner just going like, "Oh God, like, can I accommodate this?"
And there were people coming in that were going to something else too. I think maybe they went to the Tom Hanks movie or something.
Yeah,
people were buying tickets and going the other way. So,
it was definitely positive. I mean, and maybe this might be something. If theaters are really good about doing the same thing, this might be good. This might be good.
I don't know. I clapped at the end of Wrath of Khan back in 1982.
I don't clap at movies because I can't hear you.
I clap at the end a lot.
I don't.
If it's like what I deem a masterpiece.
It's kind of like when people clap when the plane lands.
Well, at least the pilot is there to hear that you clap. Nobody that was involved in the movie can hear you clapping.
I always felt that was weird. I was like, okay, we landed. That's a good thing. Like, why are we clapping? Like, don't jinx my next flight.
Right. So because of that $16.8 million weekend, they're fast tracking Wonder Woman 3.
I saw this.
I guess they don't care about the reviews, but they're just going. They're going for it. So
why listen to fans?
Patty Jenkins, she was actually shedding doubt about directing the third movie as she was hesitant due to the possibility of streaming. It's announced Wonder Woman 3 will go to a theatrical model. What was she hesitant about streaming for? She just took $10 million to shut her mouth about it. As fans around the world continue to embrace Diana Prince, driving through the strong opening performance from 1984, we are excited to be able to continue her story with our real-life Wonder Women, Gal and Patty. Did I say Pal and Gaddy?
You did.
So
who's writing it?
That probably to be announced. I don't think they'll let her write it.
I hope not.
And it was her and Jeff Johns that wrote this one. And Jeff Johns is a great comic book writer, but I don't think he can write for screen. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have that ability to translate from page to screen, because that was a pacing nightmare.
Is that true what that little thing says on the right of the screen there? Pedro Pascal out as Mandalorian, voice acting only.
Oh, let's find out. A detour, shall we? Let's see. This was posted. Oh no, that's old news. September.
Oh, okay.
See, that's the thing. These are rumor mills.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
It's fun, actually. And John Amenta tasked us with doing this, and I think we should at some point. He said, let's go back a few years, find a bunch of articles, and see how many came true. Because, that's all these are, insider information and whatnot.
Yeah.
Boy, these pop-ups are just
out of control.
I figured out how to get rid of them. If I could inspect element, and then X would pop up. Hey, it didn't work this time.
Of course.
Of course. Whatever. But anyway, we already did that story. So I wanted to hop over here next because they're all excited because it made 16.8 million in the US. But week 2, I think you're going to see a severe drop when word of mouth gets out or people already have seen it. There's not going to be much repeat, if any repeat business on this movie. And I think you'll see something very much like this here.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it'll be interesting to see.
The plot was confusing enough. I can only imagine if it's overdubbed in another language.
So well, they love this stuff in China, dude. This is the market they aim for. They're aiming for China. That's where they make half their money. But it's only making 1.5 million on its second weekend, down 92% from its 18.5 opening. So China was right about where we were with this. We're at 16.8 on our opening weekend. So I think if you see a drop of that much here, the little fast track of Wonder Woman 3 might get a little pushback.
I don't know if you'll see that as big of a drop just because people's kids are off this week and there's nothing else for them to do.
It'll be interesting, but don't forget, again, they can just watch this at home.
True. That's true.
So
yeah, but whoever wants to get, if you are feeling like you can get out of the house, you're going to get out of the house.
I suppose.
Exactly.
If you're comfortable with that.
I suppose. And I think what they're looking at is they go, well, we got 16.8 million opening weekend without New York, Chicago, or LA. So that's not too bad at all. So I was happy. I turned around and looked just before it started, and I couldn't believe the amount of people that were there on a holiday.
I don't think this is a movie. I don't think this is a movie I don't think this is a movie you take your little kid though.
People, oh please.
You know what I mean? I mean that whole.
I've heard several people, including my friends Doug and Steph, their daughter got bored and said, "I'm going to go do something else."
Oh, true, but they're going to make the money though once they pay for it. I saw
I'm
people
talking about watching it at home though. They're just getting up and walking.
Oh, yeah.
Walking out of
definitely.
Kids are bored of it. It's just
Yeah.
not.
No.
There's nothing enthralling. There's nothing engaging about it.
Right.
The action scenes are bad. It was just bad. So.
Well, I mean, there's some positives to this, so I'm glad movie sales are up.
Oh God!
Or
I almost put my foot through the screen watching that. It was a bad movie.
It wasn't that good. Yeah.
It was awful.
You know what's really weird too is normally I listen to soundtracks in movies. I felt like this movie didn't even have a soundtrack I can remember.
No, it had a Hans Zimmer soundtrack, which
I know. You would have thought that would have been.
Hans Zimmer soundtracks are like fast food to me. No, they are. They're bombastic and loud, and they truck along with the movie, but they're not thematic, and you don't remember anything about them.
Right, exactly. They don't stick in your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, like the Chris Nolan Batman movies have that. It's just bombastic,
Yeah.
But there's nothing memorable. It's not like John Williams or Jerry Goldsmith or somebody like that.
Right. Where a theme, I wasn't even. I think there was that one theme song which Diana has, is sort of that Amazonian. That was the only thing I remember hearing.
Right. That's the guy from the guy for Justice League wrote that.
Right.
So, what delay? Are we echoing?
The delay serious?
The delay serious? I don't know what that means. Are we echoing? Is that what he means?
I don't know. I don't hear an echo.
I don't hear an echo either.
Me neither.
So anyway, I think we've beaten the Wonder Woman horse to death. Any final thoughts?
Nope.
I like Wonder Woman. I mean, I like her as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm hoping the next movie will be a little bit better, and this will just be a bump in the road.
I think they need to have Artemis recast with.
Yes,
Gina
an awesome Wonder Woman. She'd make a kick-ass Wonder Woman. But we already have a woman.
No, not Wonder Woman. Artemis.
Oh, yeah,
they're one of the Amazons.
Right, but she would have made a kick-ass Wonder Woman though too.
Oh, delay on the count. Sorry, man. I got a list of stuff, and I'm trying to.
No, but she's more Amazonian than She's got the. I don't know. She's just.
Gina.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's more Amazonian.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Gadot is like skinny and.
I think of like tall, statuesque Amazons, not so much beefy, kick your ass like anyone's ass.
She can kick my ass.
She would kick your ass. She'd
I
kick
know.
You throw you across the room.
She get me in a headlock, and I'll be like, please.
Before we move forward with the rest of the stuff tonight, this is part of the. We talked a little bit about this last week. This is stuff that's coming in that new COVID bill.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that there's pushback on this because this is going to destroy a lot of YouTube stuff.
I think there's Mike. I have a conspiracy theory about this whole thing.
Let's hear it.
The conspiracy theory is that people who are at the higher end of YouTube, Twitch, who are making millions of dollars.
People. Yeah.
Okay. The studios are jealous of them that they're making so much income, and I think they just want to squash them like a bug and have complete control, because I feel like that's the age we're sort of getting into, that entertainment will now be delivered to us by common folk like you and me by entertaining the world, but we're not owned. And if you're not owned, obviously that's going to piss off some people.
If you're on Google, you're owned by YouTube, really.
True. But if you're a Twitch streamer, you get, I mean,
if you're on YouTube, you're owned by Google. Everything backwards.
Yeah. But I mean, don't you think like that's sort of the way things are going, and studios must feel like, especially Disney, they must feel like, wait a second, like we're losing money and these people are making tons of money.
First of all, the mouse doesn't need any help. It wouldn't shock me if that's their thinking, because that's exactly the kind of thinking I would expect from short-sighted corporate people who don't look at it as hundreds of thousands of free advertising eyeballs.
Right.
Right.
I mean, this is free advertising for their products, for their games, for their movies, for their television shows, for their comic books. Well, you name it.
Right.
But they want to be dicks about it, and they want to start, threatening jail. Now, they're not going to put anybody in jail. Let's face it, the jails are overcrowded. You don't need to put YouTube.
Yeah.
In jail.
That's just crazy. That's crazy
insane.
talk.
That's not going to happen. But if you're going to start demonetizing people and knocking down their channels for using clips from films and whatnot, even in they're even talking about, in critiques and reviews and things like that, which right now that's kind of fair use. If you use less than 10 seconds, you're supposed to be able to do that.
Right.
And then there's some channels that are monetized that actually get, they get a electronic press kit with stuff they can use. Like here's a bunch of scenes from the movie. Go ahead and use it. Like Red Letter Media gets those. So
right. And most companies are sending products to these people to review for free.
Oh yeah,
for free.
You get the little magic box, and that's why you suddenly see a lot of these people stop being so harsh on a lot of these properties.
Right. It's like here's a watch. Review our watch. You get to keep it. Like
they get care packages from Warner Brothers and whatnot, and don't trash our products anymore. So
right.
Drama
with one eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Napster. Yeah, right. Lars Ulrich will be the warden.
Yeah.
I think it has I think it has a lot to do with control. You can't control these content creators, and like I said, anybody can start from the bottom and work their way up on YouTube and any of these other, like Twitch.
They do have control. They will demonetize you right away if you do a copyright hit. But what they don't have control over is things like super chats. So let's use Gary from Nerdrotics as an example. Okay, on Friday night he does Friday Night Tights, and he gets dinged for copyright pretty quickly. A lot. He'll play something and he goes, "I don't care. They're going to demonetize this, whatever." But he's making hundreds and thousands of dollars in the super chat all night.
Right.
So what does he care if they don't pay him for a couple of Google ads that day?
Right.
He doesn't care. And that's where they don't have control.
Right.
So they have to try to scare you into submission, into just flat out stopping altogether.
Right.
And again, I think that's just stupid because it's going to thin the herds. A lot of people will just give up, or they'll find a new platform to go to. Right. And then, it's all the free advertising they're going to lose.
Right.
Tons of free advertising.
And
especially I say on Twitch with the gaming, like the fact that they want to stop these kids from streaming games, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's been working in their favor for over a decade.
And some channels on Twitch are subscriber based, meaning that if you subscribe, you don't get to watch ads, but you're paying $5, $6 a month and tipping the person on the other end. So, they're making money regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where they get around the ads, and that's where they can't be demonetized.
That's right. So, and I mean, and the same thing, I think the same thing even goes with Google. I mean, YouTube, you could pay whatever for the red. And the same thing with Spotify.
They call it premium now. I think YouTube Premium.
Spotify,
it's going to be interesting because right now we're small and we're not monetized yet. We get a copyright hit. I'm like, whatever. My Wonder Woman review got hit because I used the theme from the 70s show. For like 8 seconds, and I got hit.
Wow.
Yeah, but big deal. Who cares?
I bet it's funny that
if we were a monetized channel, I wouldn't even put that on there because I know I'd get hit. So, as we grow, it's going to be interesting to watch because we're going to have to be careful at some point. Right now, it's like, man, whatever. So, I mean, until they start threatening to take our channel down. Right now, they give you a copyright strike and they say action taken none. So we'll see when they say action taken, suspended, action taken, I know people have gotten their channel shut down for a week and then and then the next time I think it's a month and then the next time you're gone. So, but those are for like really, really blatant violations of their policies. So, and that's more like threatening other YouTubers and things like that. So I get that. One more story I want to revisit from last week because this is what I was looking for last week. I had the wrong article. Abigail Disney calling out So I was looking for these quotes that I couldn't find, but remember I said she went on to say that she thinks Disney's doomed.
Mhm.
And here's where she says, I don't believe that the company and the magic can survive this kind of corporate behavior. I don't think that the brand, as solid gold as it is, will last. And it is the kind of brand that is so enormous and all-encompassing, and people invest so much into it, I don't think it will erode slowly. It'll fall over like a great sequoia. I think the company needs to be saved from itself. That is huge. In typical corporate fashion, the high compensation at the top tends to come as a reward for pushing down compensation at the bottom. When I try and draw a direct line between how the C-suite is paid and how the hourly workers are paid, when I try to draw a direct line between some of those things, I think they look at me like I'm speaking in some kind of alien language, because to them, that is the dumbest thing that they've ever heard. To them, there is no relationship between what we pay a line worker or a shift worker and what we pay Bob Iger. Boom. She's dropping grenades in their lap. She wants things to change. He's a nice man and a great manager, Bob Iger. I have nothing personal against him, but his strategy from day one was to buy Pixar, buy Lucasfilm. He was a purchaser of creativity, which added and added to the machine. It was extremely disappointing to see a person who never held a creative job in his life take over the company. It's just a business. It's the deli. They are selling salami, and they are slicing it as thin as they possibly can slice it, because they're not making any more salami. That's killing them clearly for their horrible Star Wars movies. And yeah, it's powerful stuff, and it's coming from Roy Disney's granddaughter. So
I think people are more maybe this is not true, but you know, growing up and watching Disney movies, especially the older Disney cartoons, or you know, Snow White, and everything sort of had a sense of quality to it. Even the story. I mean, it was as if this had to go through many different people in order to get sort of released. And now I feel like it's just, they could just release anything and people would just buy it.
That's what she just said. That's what she feels.
Right. I mean,
they think if they buy up other intellectual property in these companies like Pixar and Lucasfilm, they don't have to do anything.
Right. Like watch Bambi, watch Snow White, watch any of these old classics, and they're great. I mean, and they're beautiful looking cartoons or movies. And now it's like, what the hell's that? And what the hell is this? Like,
it was a different company back then. Yeah.
Right. And it had a sense of quality. Now it's just quantity.
Well, they were creating their own content.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're acquiring intellectual property, and they think they can just, you know, it's that quote from Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park comes to mind all the time. You know, you're buying and then you're selling, you're constantly selling. You put it on a lunchbox and you put it on and you sell and you sell and you sell, and that's all they care about. And that's why when the Star Wars toys after the sequel trilogy didn't sell, and when the third movie earned half of what The Force Awakens did, and when Solo tanked, then they paid attention.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you got to look.
You got
to look in the past. What made you successful? And sometimes I think if you keep thinking about what you need to do and not looking back on what you did do to become successful, it's going to screw everything up. You're going to lose focus, I think. And I think that's what they're trying to do. But I mean, The Mandalorian is a start. Obviously, hopefully this will change things, and they'll listen to good writers and good directors and good producers for once.
Well, you just segued perfect into what we can talk about for a while.
Now.
There's clearly, especially after the events of the last couple of days, a civil war going on at Lucasfilm. You've got the Kathleen Kennedy camp of ideologists who want to fundamentally alter Star Wars into their political agenda. Their wokeness, if you want to call it that, sure. And then there's the Jon Favreau camp, which is tied to the George Lucas vision of Star Wars. Most notably, the fact that the entire saga, the fulcrum of the whole thing, is Luke Skywalker. And somehow Kathleen Kennedy thought we could just pop him out, and the house will still stand. And she was clearly wrong about that. But they're fighting back, as we'll find out. So it's been an interesting couple days. There's These people are crazy. I think if there's one thing we've learned is the people in entertainment are fucking nuts.
Their worlds are small.
Their worlds are small. Yeah. Yeah, like I saw that something Tom Hanks said yesterday, like movie theaters will be fine because Marvel will save them.
Oh.
Okay. People are like, Tom, do you realize you're probably not going to make $20 million on the next project you do? You're just not. So anyway, this comes off Pirates and Princesses from this guy, WW Pro. He works at Disney. His rumors have been pretty much about, I'd say 85 to 90% accurate. He spills the beans. I don't know who he is, but he posted this before Christmas. Rumored spoiler: Star Wars roadmap to redeem Luke. So according to this, I may shrink it down a little bit. It's a little big. That Disney is getting ready to retcon the Star Wars universe in order to make the sequel trilogy less problematic for their merchandising. And here's the roadmap he thinks they have going forward. Let's see.
My biggest worry is they're going to oversaturate this, and
maybe
I don't want. I like a good story, but don't oversaturate it. We don't need to know a dozen stories. Come out with one good one, and then I'm satisfied. Like, if I never have to see Baby Yoda again, I'm completely satisfied with the ending of the second season of Mandalorian.
Well, I mean, right now, as it stands, if you think about it, I would assume that Kylo Ren, kills Grogu. That's what would happen.
That's if they end
up at the point they are. So I kind of look at the sequel trilogy and I'm like, they don't count. I don't even.
No, and I think a lot of people are feeling that way, and who knows? They might divert from that with that alternate universe, like kind of like a Star Trek kind of thing.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. The fans were understanding of Star Trek, the diehard Star Trek fans. I mean, I was.
Star Trek.
The Star Trek alternate universe where they obviously. The first movie, I kind of accepted it after I got done watching. I was like, okay, this might work. And then, of course, J.J. Abrams beat the shit out of it and killed it. But
Star Trek died when they gave it to him.
Right.
So anyway, here's where he thinks they're going with this, or here where rumor has it. So they need Luke Skywalker to be back, redeemed, and the Jedi Master fans want him to be. And that's the important thing right there. He needs to be the Jedi Master because in Last Jedi, he's a quitter, a whiner, feels sorry for himself. He gives up. And all the optimism that Luke Skywalker was filled with. Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy was filled with so much optimism. He convinced everybody that there was still good in Anakin, and he was going to get him. He was going to save him. Right. And everyone told him not to do it. So that's how optimistic. And then you watch The Last Jedi, and he's like, I don't want to. Yeah, just give up.
He's shit over his shoulder.
Yeah, Jake Skywalker. Toy manufacturers need Luke Skywalker back. Marketing needs Luke Skywalker back. Game developers need Luke back. The only people who don't need Luke back are ideologically driven nut jobs who tried to fundamentally change Star Wars in the concept of the hero's journey. Yes, exactly.
Well, Mark
Dave Filoni has a plan to bring Luke Skywalker back and the hero's journey that makes Star Wars actually work. In a decade, Last Jedi will be seen like one of those comics where Superman died in the 90s. Yeah, it technically happened, but they retconned it, so he's back every single time. That's a good analogy.
It's true.
But how are they going to do it? And is that the reason Filoni has been complimentary to Johnson? Is it because he knows he's going to gut what Johnson wanted to do? This is the roadmap. In The Mandalorian, Luke takes on Grogu as a Padawan. However, Grogu's blood has already been extracted by Force into the dark side, which will then use it to bring about sequences leading up to the sequel trilogy. Grogu does not die when Kylo Ren attacks and kills Luke Skywalker's Jedis in training. Luke will be retconned to have expected Ben Solo to do so, and will have made the painful decision to send Grogu into hiding before it occurs. Part of that intersects with the Mandalorian story, so I'm not going into detail about that, as I think it would spoil the whole series if they stay with the plan I type out for everyone to read. In the sequel trilogy, it will be retconned so that Luke's actions of being in hiding, pretending to hate the Jedi, are all an act to protect Grogu from being found by the dark side, including protecting him from Rey. but Grogu is placed in danger by Rey because she takes the sacred Jedi texts, not knowing that Grogu is part of an ancient prophecy in a book called Ramagan?
What?
Isn't that a holiday? It will be revealed that Luke couldn't bring himself to burn the books that he believed would so place Grogu in danger, even though he knew it must be done. So Yoda, in Force Ghost form, had to do it for him. In the end, it turns out that when Anakin Skywalker brought balance to the Force by killing the Emperor, somehow will tie into Grogu being the child that the Force rests upon to bring peace throughout the galaxy. Grogu will be a new type of Jedi that unites dark and light, with Anakin and Luke both training him somehow. I don't believe everything is fleshed out completely, but I'm told that a Luke Skywalker series using CGI deepfake AI is on the way in the not too far future. I'm guessing that they're going to do like a mini series, like a 4-episode one-off event series with Luke and Grogu.
That's a lot.
At least that's the roadmap for now. If Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau get their way, we'll see if Kathleen lets it happen. So yeah, interesting. That should be. It's an interesting theory, whether it comes true or not.
I think I'm ready for something different. I mean, that was one thing about The Mandalorian I liked so much, was that it was different. It wasn't the same cast of characters. I mean, yes, it's still
until it was.
Did you get that feeling at the end credit scene of the last episode that Boba Fett was going to be the next chapter, because it says the book of Boba, instead of talking, being with Din Djarin and his journey, that would just be the next section of The Mandalorian. That's kind of what I felt when I first saw that scene. It's like, oh, are we stopping here? And then this is the next, and then
they're saying that the 3 spin-off series, the Ahsoka, Boba Fett, and the Rangers of the New Republic are all going to tie into, and the Mando, they're all going to tie together.
Right.
Okay.
They're going to end in one climactic event that was said. They're going to all come together at some point.
Okay. Well, I just didn't know if what, that I don't know. I
think you're right, though. I think Mando season 3, they're just going to go back and try to get Bo-Katan her seat on the throne.
Sword back.
Right.
Yeah, how's that going to work? I mean, but is that a whole season? Of
the taking of Mandalore? Sure, why not?
I guess of that.
I think
8 episodes on that.
I think they could do that. I think I'd be more satisfied if the Book of Boba Fett and a lot of these other ones were just one season and that's it. And then is that the idea, that they're just going to be one season, or are they going to be continuing seasons?
It hasn't been announced if they're one-offs or what.
Right.
They just said series.
Right. And that would be kind of cool if those were just one series and then eventually everything leads into The Mandalorian. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Like one season each.
Yeah, and then you got to watch
kind of what's happening simultaneously. Maybe there's little crossovers here and there as it's going.
Yeah, and then maybe it just all comes together in season 4 of Mandalorian, and then the Book of Boba Fett. That's it. You just got that one season, that one short story, and then it's over with.
I'd rather see that than trying to pull it out and just.
Yeah, because then they're just going to be one of the series. They're not going to be all successful. So just I mean, obviously, if it is successful and it gets more successful than Mandalorian, they're going to continue with another season. But just make them one-offs. That's fine. You can always go back. You can always go back because they always go back anyway.
Yeah, and they got to be careful of brand fatigue. If you have running at the same time, people might be like, enough with Star Wars.
Right, and I felt that way with
Marvel,
Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. I felt like those were, you're watching them, but then the Iron Fist wasn't that good, and then you kind of I don't know. I felt it was too much.
Yeah. I kind of got that feeling in the 90s with Star Trek.
Right.
It was kind of like, oh my God, I've got, an overload of Star Trek.
Right. So. I'm actually watching Enterprise, the whole 6 seasons now. I'm already halfway through season 1. Is it 4?
4.
I thought there was 6.
4.
It's pretty good. It's actually not that bad.
It's fine.
No, it's good.
So the other day, what's today? The 29th? I guess this happened.
Today's 29th.
Or the day before. There's this YouTube channel here, Star Wars Theory, and if you look, got almost 3 million subs, right? So I guess he's like the YouTube authority for Star Wars. I've never watched his channel.
I've watched some of his stuff.
Have you?
Yeah.
So, he got attacked by a Lucasfilm employee, an executive, a creative executive at Lucasfilm, Pablo Hidalgo. And Pablo Hidalgo has done this many a time. So basically, the kid at Star Wars Theory reacted to Luke, and he cried and this and that, and
yeah, that's right.
Pablo made fun of him by saying emotions are not for sharing.
What an asshole.
Yeah. And then
Imagine telling your daughter that when she's crying.
Well, this is just bad for business. This is just stupid. This is what's been going on now for a couple of years, and this is why there's the fandom menace and all this stuff. Because, we're gonna go on a little bit, and we're gonna see that it looks like there's already damage control in place. Because finally, I think they're getting the hint that, let me back it up a little bit. If I worked at XYZ Corporation, right? And I'm representing XYZ Corporation's products, I think Tom Connors made a good analogy today. It's like using a car, or you're selling a car. Let's say I work for like Dodge, and someone buys a Dodge Challenger, and then I go on Twitter and go, "You're a stupid asshole for buying that car."
Mm-hmm.
While working for Dodge, that's essentially what these people are doing.
Mm.
You're representing a company. You're representing Lucasfilm, which is part of Disney. So you're actually representing two major entertainment corporations, and you're lashing out at a guy with 3 million followers. That's not smart.
Sounds.
So what happened was he chimes in, he makes fun, then he deletes the tweet. But when you delete tweets, people take screen caps, then puts it as his header. So then he redoes his Twitter page, and he up here, right where I'm circling here, this is where you'd have your banner image. He put that. Then puts it as his header. How is this acceptable from someone so high up at Lucasfilm? You're telling people it's not okay to have emotions about the work your company produces, and you make fun of them for crying. Not okay. Totally agree. Now, they did say today when I was watching Midnight's Edge that Star Wars Theory, though, has not had any sympathy for other people who've been attacked by people at Lucasfilm. Has been a big supporter of Disney Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's happened to him. So 20 hours later, Pablo Hidalgo issues an apology. As I keep hitting this stupid pop filter. Clearly, the Lucasfilm PR department issued the apology. So it says, "I wish to clarify that my post that emotions are not to be shared was a sarcastic self-mockery and was certainly not intended to be hurtful to anyone, and I'm deeply sorry that it was. As a lifelong fan, I appreciate fans expressing how they feel. It's what being a fan is about. We can't all be together in movie theaters or at conventions right now, so express yourself online. In fact, those of us not prone to such displays will quietly live vicariously through your energy." So that's his apology. Then he changes his banner again right after that. Puts a picture back. So it says retired and having fun. I don't know if he's retired and having fun or what, but I just heard a boink.
Me too, yeah.
Hey.
What is happening? We're talking about Pablo Hidalgo attacking the Star Wars fans.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, Data Racer 117 to the rescue again. Lucasfilm's Pablo Hidalgo called Star Wars fans shitty assholes and shitheads, then locked his account. He's been retweeting an SJW that calls Star Wars fans racist, sexist, incel, misogynist hate group. Good luck explaining this when episode 9 flops. This is, of course, goes back a bit, but and you can see in here that he's tracked all the times he's been attacking fans and whatnot. So retweeting the guy who calls people incels. This is what happened when The Last Jedi came up. So you basically, if you criticize The Last Jedi, this is how you were treated, which is how the whole fandom menace was created. So I found this article here.
I read this.
Yeah. So who is Pablo Hidalgo? Lucasfilm's Yoda canceled for bullying Star Wars superfan. So the kid that runs Star Wars Theory is a cancer survivor.
That seems like such a convenient bit of information. Did he know that? Like, are we looking back at people? Are we looking? I know, but that's to be a headline. It's a little bit like, do we have to look back at everyone's personal history and health history? And like, oh, I was beaten up by my boyfriend like 20 years ago. It's like.
But what it does is it's he got through it because of Luke Skywalker. So when he saw Luke Skywalker make that appearance on Mandalorian, he got really emotional, and that's why he did the video where he was crying. So
okay.
The bottom line is he shouldn't have been trolled by a guy.
Agreed. I agree.
Period. Much less a creative executive.
I agree with you, but it seems really. I don't know.
Nobody's saying that like that makes it any worse or it's kind of ironic and it gives reason to why the kid made the video of him crying because he was so touched because the Star Wars movies are what got him through cancer.
Right,
but I thought this was kind of funny because this.
Oh yeah, this is funny. This is funny.
Geeky Sparkles on Clownfish said, "Well, if he's going to attack Star Wars fans that cried about Luke on The Mandalorian, why doesn't he go after the King Crier himself?"
And he
Kevin
did.
Fucking Smith.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, somebody
Kevin
did.
Smith said when he saw it, way too early to bawl my eyes out, but holy Sith, that Mandalorian season finale was like watching my life flash before my eyes. At Jon Favreau has the biggest balls in the business with that incredible third act flex. Easily the most positively surprising moment of 2020 for me. And there he is, all teary-eyed.
That's so weird.
Yep.
So where's Pablo Hidalgo coming at him?
Well, somebody actually did say something to Kevin Smith online, and then he wrote back and said, "Well, I'm sorry." He said something I forgot, but there was somebody that did reach out to him.
Well, Kevin Smith cries at everything, dude. He cried at Wonder Woman 84.
I know. Well,
he will cry. Well, let me just go to it. Ichibaka, who's another good Star Wars blogger, figured out that it's a marketing strategy for Kevin.
Of course.
That's funny.
Crying Kevin Smith marketing strategy, where Kevin publicly relates his experiences of crying on the set of whatever blockbuster is willing to pay his weeping fee. Fans may recall Kevin regaling us with the tale of him crying on the set of Episode 7 back in 2014. Jeez. I wept on the set, and then in between his, he cries at everything. Even EVS is like, it's obvious to me because I think it works for him to get a job. Like this picture here, he was crying at the TV show The Flash, and the next thing you know, he's directing Flash episodes.
Like that's some ugly crying right there, Jay. That's like serious. That's not even just like a tear. It's like full on.
He cries at everything. For me, I saw him post today my full review of Wonder Woman. I'm like, there's no reason to even listen to you anymore. You cry and you praise everything. Everything. Yeah, suck it, Pablo.
Well, it's funny because he likes anything that's got a comic book hero in it. No matter how bad it is, he likes it.
He's not critical of anything.
No, and he always blames himself. He's like, "Well, I can't do that. That's why I like it so much. I couldn't write anything like that."
Yeah, I've grown awfully tired of that whole act. It's disingenuous, and I've never heard him be critical of anything. Like he just will not say anything negative. So
he also smokes a lot of pot, so I'm assuming he watches a lot of these movies fucking stoned,
wasted, and probably on no sleep. Lucasfilm's Pablo Hidalgo mocking a YouTuber is typical of Star Wars under Disney ownership. So look at this, baby Yoda cookie cutter.
They got you locked in, Keith. They got you.
Yeah, they do. So this just goes on and on, and it kind of does what we just, it encapsulates what we just talked about, and that this behavior has gotten it's beyond ludicrous at this point. But then this popped up today from Drunk 3PO. Lucasfilm is seeking a new social media manager after Pablo Hidalgo PR nightmare. Now, apparently, though, this is the third one, according to Amber Goldsmith here. Take it from someone who applied to Lucasfilm social media manager.
Yeah, that's right.
Which has been relisted no less than 3 times in 1 to 1.5 years. Pablo and his friends are douchebags. They go around screenshotting fans' tweets and make fun of them. I complained to Disney Lucasfilm about it. Specifically after Matt Martin of Lucasfilm helped me apply for the social media manager job at the company. I was first told, you don't fit our company culture. Then I was informed by a friend that found Pablo and his friends screenshotting my tweets making fun of me. And I guess she has a slight autism, which made mocking and bullying about Pablo and his friends much worse because I literally had never interacted with any of them beforehand. Yet several of them had works for Lucasfilm in their bios. They looked me up specifically to mock me.
Jeez.
That's her story. I guess we have to believe her. It certainly matches what's going on. So anyway, I do believe if there's any truth to her story, it's the fact that they've posted this job 3 times in 2 years. So it looks like this was posted today, I think. Oh yeah, today, December 29th, 10:31 this morning. So maybe they're going to clamp down on this stuff finally, because it's not just Star Wars, it's Marvel.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the companies that Disney bought, and they let these people go on Twitter and just go crazy and be mean and troll.
There's
no customers. Like, you're trolling.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
And I think I think part of their issue with it too is that they're so short-sighted. They think, I'm attacking this one dude. Yeah, one dude with 3 million followers on YouTube, and how many on social media?
Yeah.
And then how many of their followers did see that? And then their followers, and theirs, and that the whole thing. We got some Kevin Smith commentary here from Con Guy, Crocodile.
Yeah.
And from Clay, I was baked and watched Wonder Woman, and it didn't help. Clay, did you cry? We just want to know if you cried. Did you cry like Kevin Smith?
I want you to try it on
childhood. Come back to life.
I want you to try it on acid next, Clay, and tell me what you thought.
Only if it makes you feel like your childhood just came past before your eyes. How many times is he going to use that one?
Edson, did you watch it?
Yep, I watched
it. Oh, now that we have you, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
Disappointed. It's probably the best I could say. I mean, I like what you said, Stacey, about going into a movie with a positive, which I always try to do as well. But, at some point when I start looking at my watch, that's my first clue that it's not going well. And then I'm like, and I was like, it was halfway through, and I'm like, this does not seem like a Wonder Woman story or a Wonder Woman movie. It just seems something different that I can't explain. And to me, the bottom line is Wonder Woman's been like this example or inspiration for girls and young women for like, I don't know, almost 100 years now.
Absolutely.
And you're telling me that 60 years goes by and she's still not enjoying any part of life because she lost someone. And I know it was real love. I get it, but she's still.
I was thinking that too. I forgot to bring
she's still holding on to that after 60 years and can't enjoy any part of life. You could still feel the loss of the person, but like she's just sitting in her apartment all day long, and just going to work, and that's all she does. That doesn't seem to be that type of person that she's been portrayed, but.
At least they kind of wrote that out of it now, though. She can move on now.
And that's an awfully long time to feel that way.
Yeah, but she hasn't aged a day, so she's got a long time.
I know. To us, it looks like just yesterday because she's like. There was one part you probably missed it in the whole jumble because when all the wishes were coming in through, and they showed this older man, and he's got cows in the background, and he says to his wife, and he says, I wish for a farm, but not here. And this isn't my credit. My daughter Abby, who came to see the movie with me, said, "Wouldn't that be a great Stan Lee cameo if it was a Marvel movie?"
Totally would have.
I thought, hey, you just made that was one positive that I came out of the movie.
But
you guys covered everything pretty much. What the problems were.
You're right. Back to her pining for decades over his loss also flies in the face of the supposed feminist agenda of the movie.
Right.
It's supposed to be, I don't need no man, which was supposed to be what comes out of letting him go later on, because she gets her powers back. And I don't need no man.
But it took all those decades to come to that conclusion. I mean,
that's a long ass time.
The movie contradicted itself all over the place.
That's
I agree with you.
Yeah, no, I thought that was. I didn't like that part either. I mean, come on. I mean, got to move on sometime. What was it? World War One? What year?
Hey, he was the first man she had ever seen in her entire life.
How many?
1918. Yeah. It was
I mean, 1918 till 1984. She hasn't
Almost
touched
70
another
years.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I know.
And you can, and I understand you can still feel
I
that
mean,
loss, but not to the point where your whole life is on hold.
I mean, she still has a heartbeat, right? I mean, come on.
Well, and it led to that creepy scene that you were talking about, Jude, where she's kind of almost having a romantic conversation with Kristen Wiig.
Oh,
I haven't felt this way in a long time. You make me
I
mad.
know. I know. It was so awkward. It was such.
I thought that was an awkward scene too. I actually
wasn't that
I actually
so
felt
awkward?
myself go, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
It was like watching the dialogue from The Room. It was like, what the hell?
No,
This is
that's
so
just
awkward.
bullshit.
Wonder Woman, that's bullshit.
Oh, man.
Anyways, don't want to spend that more time, but yeah.
Yeah. So back to Star Wars. We got a little
yeah.
more Star Wars. This is the last Star Wars. So this came out yesterday again, WW Pro, and it kind of goes along with what we were saying, that there's a schism at Lucasfilm, clearly, and you've got the Kennedy camp and you've got the Favreau camp, and it's going to be who is going to win
Favreau.
at the end.
I'm Team Favreau.
Who's holding first place trophy right now?
I it's amazing because it says here that the writers are livid over Luke Skywalker and white male leads. They want to get rid of Luke, and it says in here, it's all around the office. When his name comes up, there are people who just lose. They get mad, and like I don't understand it, because if you knew anything about Star Wars, Luke is, like I said before, he's the fulcrum. The whole thing sits right there, and it balances on Luke Skywalker. Yeah. So pull him out, and it falls apart. I think Disney. I think the Bobs, both Iger and Chapek, are watching this very carefully. And they're going to be watching merchandise sales. They're going to be watching fan reaction. And I think if it's a battle of attrition, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to win. I think they're already winning because all the new series and stuff seem to be.
I just feel like
their universe.
I just feel like right now, John can do whatever he wants. I mean, and they're probably going to tell him that. Ignore Kathleen Kennedy. Just do whatever you want, because whatever you're doing is working. I mean,
they set the bar. That's what I said.
There's got to be some weird politics going on in the office, but they're all just like, tell her the meeting's at 3, and we'll start the meeting at 1. When
we reschedule Jay and we get Jay back in here, he told me he's got no problem. He's going to discuss his time with Kathleen.
Well, regardless, the results are going to show where they're going to go. I mean, if they can't ignore what's happening with the Mandalorian, and that's Favreau's thing, right? So they see it going in the right direction, and it's like, this is where we want to go. It's like, you can't ignore that.
No, and if it's bringing in numbers and it's bringing in revenue, they're going to go with the best person who's going to run the business.
If you were watching Twitter the night Luke Skywalker made that appearance in Mandalorian, it was the first time in years that the whole Star Wars fan base was united with excitement.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the first time since the Force Awakens trailer dropped.
Yeah.
When that first trailer, when Han and Chewie walked into the Falcon, he goes, "Chewie, we're home." Every Star Wars nerd on the planet wet their pants, because they were expecting something close to what we got in Mandalorian instead. But regardless, it was the schism started with The Last Jedi, and there's two sects of fandoms, and I think if you look at it, the Reylos, as they call them, who like the sequel trilogy and want all the original stuff wiped out. What do they say? Kill the past, bury it if you have to. It's a very small minority, and they were not happy about Luke's appearance that night. But it was very, trolls and a couple naysayers going, "Oh, this is just cheap fan service and whatnot." And we get a cat butt. It's great.
The cats love putting their ass in your face. I don't know why.
I really think they're watching, and it's just the fan reaction that night was off the charts positive for the appearance of Luke. So I know I've watched that scene a gazillion times.
Me too.
It's awesome. I'm going to probably watch it again just before I kill Disney Plus. I'll watch it one more time. So It's interesting. We got to follow what happens in the world of Star Wars because it's a murky mess.
It's
But
like
I'm filled with
Dagobah.
optimism.
It's like landing on Dagobah. Is that what you're trying to say? Murky.
I would say after Last Jedi, our X-wing was in the swamp. But I'd say right now, Yoda pulled it out and put it on the shore. We just got to clean it up.
Yeah.
The analogy, man, it's great.
Thanks, dude. And you're the Star Wars guy. But not to be outdone, the creatively bankrupt people over at CBS, Paramount, have to. Alex Kurtzman is like, oh, but our show is so abysmal, and our ratings are in the toilet, and Picard was a shit show. Hey, why don't we get all the Star Trek captains back together and wreck them all in one shot?
Oh.
I cannot even begin to tell you how much contempt I have for Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams. They've ruined my favorite thing, Star Trek.
You need a lot of alcohol. You're going to have to start drinking again, Keith.
I don't even watch their new shit anymore because it's so freaking bad. And I do watch people like Robert Meyer Burnett, who actually worked on Star Trek and is like one of the world's biggest Star Trek fans on the planet. And when Robert Meyer Burnett did a show right after the Luke Skywalker appearance, and he talked about how divergent the two franchises are, because Star Wars right now on streaming is in the hands of people who love and respect the property. And Star Trek is in the hands of people who do not love or respect the property. And they're trying to make it into something it's not. And ironically, the same week that Luke appeared in Mandalorian, the Guardian of Forever made an appearance in Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let me just quickly pull that up for people who don't know what the Guardian of Forever is. Guardian of Forever. Let me get this typed in because I can't type. Let me get an image. Guardian of Forever was seen in what could possibly be probably the most iconic, there it is, science fiction television episode of all time, City on the Edge of Forever. For anyone who hasn't seen it, please go you can find it on Netflix for free, Amazon, anywhere. Go get the season 1 episode of Star Trek. It's called The City on the Edge of Forever. Watch it. I showed it to my ex-girlfriend one night because she hated Star Trek, and she was like teared up and like, that was amazing. That was amazing. So this donut-shaped object is the Guardian of Forever, and it's kind of it's a sentient being of sorts. What's he say? I'm neither being or machine. I'm both and I'm neither.
Yep.
And it's laying amidst ruins of this ancient civilization on some planet somewhere. And what happens in the episode is Dr. McCoy accidentally injects himself with a speed kind of drug, and it whacks him out, and he beams himself down to the planet to escape the ship, and he runs through that thing and goes back in time to the Great Depression in New York City, and Kirk and Spock have to follow him back and stop him from altering time. And it's just incredible. So apparently, Alex Kurtzman and the creatively bankrupt morons at Secret Hideout decided, let's bring that back. It's iconic, and they'll get all the Star Trek fans excited. Now they're thinking this is the same week that Luke comes back to Star Wars for the same reason. And they turned that thing into a little old British guy.
What?
They turned it into a little old British guy. I don't think you could work harder to show contempt for your audience than that.
Well,
the same week they bring Luke Skywalker back in his glorious, like the way Luke is supposed to be. They take the Guardian of Forever from the most famous science fiction Star Trek, the most famous science fiction television episode of all time, and turn it into a fat little white British guy. And that's the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek, folks.
Give it time, Keith. Give it time.
Give it time. No, it needs to be destroyed. Alex Kurtzman needs to be put into a freaking box and shipped to Antarctica. Get rid of that guy, man. He's clueless. And I mean, how many times have I used him in my open where he says, we're not doing this to promote Star Trek anymore. It's about you promoting my politics on the platform. That's all he cares about.
There's going to be a bidding war for Jon Favreau, man. He's just going to be like,
what's
your best offer? What's your best offer? What's your best offer?
No,
he does he does what makes him happy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Star Trek needs to be given to people who know and love Star Trek, like Ronald D. Moore, Ira Steven Behr, those kind of guys.
Right.
So even give it to Mark A. Altman and Robert Meyer Burnett. Let them do it. A new rumor suggests that Star Trek Picard is building toward a special crossover episode featuring various captains from across the franchise's history. So we know Shatner will do it because he'll do anything for a buck.
Yeah.
This is the problem. They're not going to get Avery Brooks. I'm telling
That's
you.
what I was thinking. And it's like, well, what's Avery Brooks going to do? That
He's
was
retired.
the one thing.
He's a teacher. He doesn't care. He's a jazz musician. He's not going to come back. He wouldn't even do a documentary about Deep Space Nine, the show he was on. He's going to come back and go into this dog shit Star Trek knockoff? No way. She'll do it. Kate Mulgrew will do it. And Bakula might also be problematic. I don't know. Depends on how bad he needs money, I guess. I don't know if Bakula would care enough, but
yeah.
To me, don't do this. Please don't do this. You already ruined Picard for me. Like, ruined him. Don't ruin the other four. God.
No, yeah. There's no reason to do it,
especially this guy next to Captain Kirk. This is the best captain Starfleet ever had, right here. Sisko, he's awesome. So, yeah, I just had to get that out there.
I mean, again, I never watched Enterprise when it was out, and I'm starting to watch it now, and it's probably the last best series, right? Pretty much, right?
Well,
I know you have mixed feelings on it, but.
No, I like Enterprise. I never had a problem with it, but the last season is so much better than the first three.
Right.
Actually, season 3 gets better. Season 4, and Edson will tell you.
Yep. And but what you just said, Jude, it's like, it's the last best thing. It's like, and it's not as good as the other ones, and it's still the last best thing compared to what we have now.
Yeah, it's true.
It doesn't seem that bad.
I feel that way about Star Trek.
No, and I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying I like the other series better, but it's still much better television than what we're seeing. I mean, it's not even comparable to what we're seeing today. But
it's not even close. And Voyager was always considered the weakest of the 90s Star Treks.
Yep.
The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. And Voyager just seemed kind of, it was weaker. The characters weren't as fleshed out or anything. But when you watch that compared to this new stuff, holy moly, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it always seemed like they had a good formula going. I mean, the stories felt like the same stories I watched in Voyager seemed like they could have been in the Next Gen. They kind of feel like they could be any Star Trek series and it would work. You know what I mean by the formula? Like they sort of, like you could tie one episode in with another one and it would work. I don't know. I haven't watched Picard, so I don't know. You guys sort of, I was going to do it and then you guys just said, don't bother.
Oh,
and so I don't even know what kind of nightmare is there.
It's insulting. It's so bad. It's insulting.
And maybe not seeing it is good because I don't have to deal with all the friggin'
Yeah. And to know
my
that Patrick
characters.
Stewart is responsible for a lot of it is sad to me. To know that Patrick Stewart doesn't know the first thing about his own character is very sad. How you play a guy for, I want to say 7 years, but he did all those movies too. So I'd say 11, 12 years and not have a clue as to what kind of person that character is. Or he had a big hand in the creative decisions.
Or makes you think that it's like, did he really care about that character the way he was, which is the character we love? Did he even care about that character? Because he pretty much demolished himself, that his character. So did he even care about that?
That's an excellent point. That's a really excellent way to look at that. You're right. Did he resent the character kind of like Shatner and Nimoy used to?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. That's not good.
So in comparison to the Abrams movies, are they just as bad, or is the Abrams movies actually okay? Like, I mean, I know it's like, rotten apples and rotten bananas, but
if we're gonna put rotten fruit on the table and rank it,
Yeah, I mean,
Rotten bananas, you can make banana bread out of.
That's true.
there you go.
That would be J.J. Abrams then.
well, you know, I would say this, at least for the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, I would enjoy that, watching that one a lot more than I would enjoy going back to Picard, only because like even the first time I saw it, I knew right away the story was kind of in shambles, but I like the fact that they got that cast working so well. They really reminded me of the original cast.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it. I know there was a lot of issues with the story itself. I get it, but just watching them interact with each other, I would enjoy that better than going back to Picard, the Picard series. I mean,
I'm with you, Edson. I think the casting of those movies makes that more appealing than anything out of the TV division. And Star Trek Discovery. I mean, just watch some of the reviews from Az or from Robert Meyer Burnett about Discovery or Picard.
Oh.
I mean, there's just no reason to watch these things. They're just
but
they don't get it.
They must have a fan base around this stuff. I mean, I don't hear anything positive, but people are still watching it.
They do. They have. I think they attract the younger sect because it's pretty to look at, and I know there's a lot of crying and talking about your feelings on the new Discovery show, and I know that a lot of the crew members cry because they're homesick, and it's like, what? You signed up for Starfleet. What do you think was going to happen? You ain't coming home.
Exactly.
If I was on the Enterprise, I would never want to come home. Come on.
Well, they're not on the Enterprise. That's part of the other
Well,
problem.
that's true too. That's the problem right there.
Yeah. Gal Gadot, remember she was cast as Cleopatra.
Yep.
And she got attacked for it because they claim she's too white.
Oh, God.
Even though the character is Greek. And, she fired back. Do you guys hear an echo? Hang on.
No.
An echo. Hang on. Let me fix it. Gone. There we go. It's gone. Actress Gal Gadot has responded to. Is it Gadot or Gadot?
I think it's Gadot. I thought it was Gadot. Oh, I hear an echo now too. I think I heard her pronounce it Gadot somewhere, but maybe I'm wrong.
Gadot.
I like Gadot better, but I think it's Gadot. It's Israeli. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, on this show, it's Gadot.
It sounds prettier.
We'll go with that.
Has responded to backlash over her casting as Cleopatra in a new big screen epic from Paramount after filmmakers were accused of whitewashing. Plans for Gadot to play the Egyptian queen sparked new outrage from confused social media users in October who wrongly assumed Cleopatra was black and North African.
North African.
So
Egypt is closer to like the Middle East than a lot of the rest of Africa.
Yeah.
Do
your homework before you go attack people. God, we have this little thing called the Google machine. I mean, how hard is it?
Yeah.
But you don't need information to have an opinion. You just can say whatever you think things might be. And
I think because Egypt is attached to the continent of Africa, that people go, oh, well, look, it's in Africa. Merca. Woo! The film's director, Patty Jenkins, was accused of whitewashing after casting a white Israeli woman to play a role and suggested the part be given to an African or black actress instead. The outrage was met with ridicule. Yeah, we ridiculed. By other social media users who were quick to point out the Egyptian ruler was actually ethnically Greek or Persian. While she was born in Egypt, Cleopatra was the daughter of Pharaoh
Ptolemy.
Thank you. I was going to say Ptolemy.
Or whatever.
The seventh, a member of the Macedonian Greek royal family that ruled Egypt for 275 years, meaning Cleopatra was most likely fair-skinned. Now Gadot, 35, has spoken out about the reaction and defends the movie's casting. First of all, if you want to be true to the facts, and Cleopatra was Macedonian, Gadot told BBC Arabic. We were looking for a Macedonian actress that could fit Cleopatra. She wasn't there, and I was very passionate about Cleopatra. Picture. Gadot added, I have friends from across the globe, whether they're Muslim or Christian or Catholic, atheist or Buddhist or Jewish. Of course, people are people. Thank you. Come again. And with me, I want to celebrate the legacy of Cleopatra and honor this amazing historic icon that I admire so much. But anybody can make this movie and anybody can go ahead and do it. I'm very passionate and I'm going to do my own too.
That's a weird statement.
That is a weird statement.
No, I think that's perfect. She's saying if you want to make a Cleopatra movie and cast whoever you want, go right ahead and do it. And
So
she
we're
can
going to do
hers.
this. Yep.
I mean, that's exactly what your message should be.
No, I know it's just phrased.
I know the way it's
in a
worded.
funny way. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's just
when you read
quote.
it, and I probably read it horribly.
No, it's weirdly worded. Just like it's a
It is.
But yeah, the
It's
sentiment.
a little bit of it's kind of a word salad that sense.
Yeah.
Gadot, best known for Wonder Woman, will also produce the new Cleopatra film, taking on the role made famous by Elizabeth Taylor in the 1963 classic of the same name.
Who is whiter?
The biopic will retell the story for the first time through women's eyes, both behind and in front of the camera. So they're teaming up again, and who's writing it is all I want to know, because don't let
Please don't let Patty Jenkins
take the word processor away from Patty Jenkins. Don't let her write anymore. That was awful.
Maybe it'd be different if she's doing a historical.
It's a bio.
I mean,
you got to get your facts in there, right? So
yeah,
I don't feel like
Yeah.
she thought she had a bad movie. That's the problem. I think she's just kind of clueless.
I don't think any director thinks that they have a bad movie.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy must know.
I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is very talented. I think Midnight's Edge put out a video today that's really telling. It's a kind of I texted you guys the link. It's like an overview of her whole career, and you can see how she's failed upward at every step. She really has, and from what I've heard from people I know who've worked with her, that's all I hear. She knew where to stand and where to be at the right time. And you give her credit for that. So she's got a good business sense, because she knew what to do and how to do it. And steal credit and things like that.
Oh boy.
So I was talking about this when we were discussing Wonder Woman at the beginning of the show, and the fact that the tone of Wonder Woman 84 was so different from the first one. The tone, the look, the feel, everything. Her, Wonder Woman herself, no more sword and shield. It goes back to this whole thing. It's because back when the first one was made, it was part of this universe. And they're saying that this universe will die with the Snyder Cut. That there's nowhere to go after that. They're not going to bring Zack Snyder back. And in fact, lurking in the background, as of this week, he signed the contract, I think Monday? Maybe it was Monday of last week. Jar Jar Abrams is now contracted with Warner Brothers and rumored to be at work on the new Superman movie. What could possibly go wrong? So anyway, they're saying that the Snyder Cut's going to come out and they're going to release it on HBO Max. And at least for now, Mr. Snyder is not part of the new DC film blueprint, with studio executives describing his HBO Max project as a storytelling cul-de-sac, a street that leads nowhere. So it's going to be a 4-part, 4-hour miniseries that will release on HBO Max in March. It's unclear how much of Justice League sequel was supposed to come out is going to be in the miniseries, or if it's just a massively inflated version of the first movie. It sounds like Snyder isn't going to be part of the future of the DC universe, so he could be combining both of these movies and tying off his corner of the DC universe with a nice little bow. We'll have to see what happens in early 2021. So I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm bummed about that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Because love it or hate it, at least he had a plan. And everything that's come out since the Justice League movie doesn't have any kind of cohesive plan to it.
Well, I mean, the new Suicide Squad, I think, is something to look forward to. I mean,
yeah, but I think they're trying to go Marvel. They're trying to copy the Marvel method. I think they want to lighten up the movies. They want to make them kind of goofy and fun.
I mean, James Gunn, I think he's going to do a good job with Suicide. He's got to do a good job with it. I mean, he's done a pretty successful job with Guardians. So I do have hope, and I'm crossing my fingers. And I'm a little bit hyped about it. that he'll do good with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I'm with you. But
It can't be any worse than Wonder Woman 1984. I mean, you can only move forward, right?
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, no, I mean,
but since Snyder was like, oh, you had Aquaman come out.
Right.
I mean, Aquaman was already in production anyway.
Right.
But that didn't feel much like the Man of Steel BVS universe at all.
Hmm.
And then Shazam, which I really liked. I thought
Shazam was good. It didn't even seem like a DC film. Like it's just with that.
It's its own thing,
Seemed like its own thing.
That's kind of my point, though. Like, and then the Wonder Woman 84. So you got those movies, and in between Birds of Prey, none of them feel like they're part of a cohesive universe.
Right.
And say what you want about Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel, they felt part of the same. And even Wonder Woman, the first one, they all felt part of that Zack Snyder Justice League universe. So, they were trying to hurry up and catch Marvel by doing the Justice League thing, and now they don't have Zack Snyder, and if they have no plans to use Zack Snyder, it's almost like they're going to start over again. And so now they've stubbed their toe twice on their way to the Marvel universe. So, who knows? I just want the movies to be good.
It's kind of like DC is like a box of chocolates in a way. You never know you're gonna bite into something and be like, ugh, like
yeah,
you never know what you're in for.
It was yummy nougat and caramel in that Shazam one, and then I bit one with coconut and raisins.
And I'm still picking chocolates out of the box, just hoping,
Yeah, it really is. It's throwing spaghetti at the wall, for lack of a better term. But and then we got this one. We got the new Robert Pattinson Batman that's in production. So I think what they're thinking now, Walter Hamada is kind of insinuating that all this haphazard continuity and whatnot can be quickly explained away with the multiverse. So that's probably what they're going to do. So they have a plan for unleashing parallel movies featuring different versions of Batman. Of course, we know this already. Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton will be in The Flash. I wish they'd get rid of Ezra Miller, though. Jesus. And Robert Pattinson will play the Dark Knight in The Batman. According to The Times, which interviewed DC Movies boss Walter Hamada, these stories take place on parallel Earths with names familiar to comic book fans. Earth 1 will house things like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman movies, while Pattinson's Batman lives on Earth Erath 2. And The Flash bridging the gap between the universes. So, okay. I mean, DC's been doing this in the comics and whatnot forever.
Right.
It's always kind of, I have a love-hate with the multiverse thing, because to me it's cheap and lazy. It's like you can screw up continuity and just say, oh, that was from Earth 22, and so I don't know. I mean, it goes back to what we were just saying. It's sad that they didn't have a plan for their cinematic universe at all. No plan from the start. So this is the way they get around it. These movies are in this universe, and these movies are in that one, and these movies are in that one. Instead of just, how hard is it to make 5 or 6 movies that tie together?
Well, I mean, some kind of cooperation or collaboration between people who know how to make movies, and it's like it's hard enough for them to find somebody who knows how to make a good movie, much less a bunch of them, and have a direction.
Yeah,
looks like everybody just wants to put their own mark and not worry about how they're going to make it work with everyone else. I mean, in the comics, which is happening in a few days now, when we hit 2021, this future state is almost like another version of it.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, I forgot that's going to happen.
Sorry.
Thanks, Edson. Wow, we're off to a banging start in 2021.
I'm so behind in comics.
That's okay. You could stay that way. You're probably better off.
I
have 2 months to catch up because nothing good comes out till March.
I haven't stepped into a comic shop since before last year. So,
okay.
Because of COVID, and because I'm working from home. So, alternate universe is near my work, my comic book shop. So I would purposely skip out of work and, just for maybe 25 minutes, a half hour, and go to the comic book store and do my pickup and then come back just as a mental break.
Yeah.
And when that wasn't there anymore, that was sort of my routine. There's nothing around me here. So, but Walmart is selling comics now, which is kind of funny. They actually have a rack on there now. But it's it's IDW or something. What is it? Yeah, IDW, right?
Is it IDW?
It's IDW. Yeah.
Oh.
It was unbelievable. I was walking through the electronics aisle, and they had a comic book rack, and I was like, "What the hell?" But it was all IDW comics, I think.
Wow.
Okay.
So
yeah, all like TV and movie properties.
Yeah. So I don't know how that deal worked, but it worked. So
wow. Okay. On that note, apparently they're developing another Harley Quinn movie, this time inspired by the HBO Max animated series. This is the third time a charm. Do they get it right the third time?
What the problem is her character is, you could only take it in small doses. Once it's...
I agree.
Yep. She's not a good leading character. She's someone who can play off a leading character at different parts. Yep.
They are desperate to make Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn work. And they failed in 2 movies so far. Did they get it right the third time?
She's good as that character is good as part of a group or part of like a sidekick that comes in and out.
Right.
It doesn't work.
No, and she's kind of and she's obnoxious, and she's not good obnoxious. Like, Deadpool is good obnoxious. She's not good obnoxious at all. It's almost annoying after a while. You're like, oh, okay,
yeah,
quiet. That whole New York accent thing,
Mr. J.
Yeah, it's not that I'm saying anything bad about New York accents. I'm just saying it just.
Well, Mikey Sutton, Mr. J, claims they want to develop a solo movie or movies based on the adult-oriented Harley Quinn cartoon, produced and starring Katie
Oh
Cope.
my gosh.
I'm now hearing the discussions to have Quinn in a solo film. One that is closer in tone and continuity to a highly acclaimed and popular animated series on HBO Max, Mr. J.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it Fran Drescher? Was that? She sounds like Fran Drescher. It's like she.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I've never been a huge fan of this character. I actually like the character more now that she's going good in the comics.
Right. In the comics, I like the direction they're going in.
So do I, because they're giving her some depth. She's not just an annoying, psychopath with a baseball bat or.
She's like an anti-hero in a way.
No, she wants to redeem herself for all the. Don't forget, her character at the core is a psychiatrist.
Yep.
So she's kind of getting in touch with who she is in this current run of Batman, and she wants to redeem herself because she realized that she was co-opted by Joker. He told her and promised her things.
Joker was her bad boy. Right. Joker was her bad boy.
Yeah. So they have this new character, Punchline, who's replaced her as Joker's girlfriend, and that's also part of it. So, but I did like the dialogue she has with Bruce Wayne in the very last issue was really good, I thought.
Was that 104 or what?
One of those, 104 or 105, where she kind of tells him, "I've done horrible things, and I need to make amends for all of them." So she might be more interesting that way.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious to know though if they play that into the movies, or they're just going to do that with the comic.
I guess if they get the feedback that the fans like it, maybe they will.
Maybe. Ethan Van Sciver, EVS, reports there's a California comic book retailer who's going to stop stocking DC Comics.
Just put Batman, man. Batman sells. Come on, man.
Yeah, Batman sells. Batman sells like
for sure.
Crazy.
Batman sells, man. Why would you?
According to this,
I don't want to make money.
There's a store in Anaheim, Pop Comics, informed him they're going to no longer carry DC books in their store, in effect cutting out a full third of their market from their stock. I don't think it's a smart move.
No.
Yeah.
How could that be?
The truth? I don't go into if I went to a comic book store and it was all Marvel, I'd just walk out. I'm sorry. I buy more DC titles.
Pop Comics has decided we will no longer be carrying DC Comics periodicals, monthly comics, the retailer told Van Sciver in a Facebook instant message before explaining how their troubles started, unsurprisingly, when DC severed ties with Diamond in April. Yeah. As many of you are well aware, DC decided to cut ties with Diamond Publishing earlier this year, Pop explained. What ensued was literally 6 months of chaos for comic retailers, nonstop chaos. There will be books about it someday, or at least chapters within books. I think this guy's being...
spiteful?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've talked to my guy about all this, and yeah, it's annoying because they're on their third distributor now, and they're on different days, and you have to make up separate order sheets, and it just means you have to do a little more work.
Oh, they're so busy there.
So you're saying it was chaos following that, but the previous months when there was no comics at all, that was okay. It was
right.
Just shut down.
Right. Yeah. And Jude, you're not wrong about Batman.
No.
My guy tells me that one issue of Batman every 2 weeks outsells everything else in the store combined.
When I walked into that's the first comic I go to. The first part of the rack I go to is Batman.
Yeah,
and I'd be pissed when the title that I wanted was gone, and I'd be like, "Where is it? Where is it? You got it in the back room?" And the guy's like, "Nope, that's it."
No, that's why Batman. You got to have a pull list, and you got to have them save Batman because it'll last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is dumb. I mean, this is cutting off your nose to spite your face. Why would you do that? And the guy even says it's 1/3 of their market. Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's weird. What a strange.
He doesn't want to do the extra work of ordering.
He doesn't want to do the extra work. That sounds like he's just being lazy. Because I don't know if you're aware, Stacy. Before this, every comic publisher went through Diamond Distributor.
Okay.
So if you were selling your book, no matter how big or small your company was, it went through Diamond. So all a comic shop direct market retailer had to do was fill out one order form 2 months in advance for every company's books.
Wow.
That's all they had to do.
Yep.
In March, when things shut down, Diamond shut down and said they said something to the effect of, we're not going to be shipping comics for the foreseeable future. They didn't even give it like a time frame.
Weird.
Then they sent out a letter to the publishers that they couldn't afford to pay them back any money they owed them, and it would look bad. So DC immediately affiliated themselves with 2 other distributors and started shipping comics again. They did what they had to do to survive, and I give them credit for that. And then a couple months ago, they severed ties with one of them. So they're down to this third one. And, my guy down at my comic shop has told me, they come in on a different shipping service, which is a pain in the neck. They're on a different day. They, the orders are different. But it creates more work for him. But to him, it's worth it when he's in Batman comics that outsell everything else. So, he's our age, the owner of that shop. He's a little older, and he's not allergic to hard work. I think what you see a lot of times is fans open comic shops, but they don't know anything about actually running a business. They just want to. They want to run a comic shop, and they want to have their nerd store and hang out with other nerds, and that's great. And it would be awesome to do that. But if you don't have a good enough business sense,
you're not going to have a shop
be able to
hang out in.
Right. You've got to adjust on the fly, and you've got to be able to be creative with things. And you just, things that are out of your control, you're going to have to learn to deal with.
I think the best comic book stores I've been to is when there's like 2 owners, believe it or not. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like where you go in one day, there's one
usually has the business sense, and the other one has the knowledge of the fandom, and they can help the customers and tell you what's good to read and sit there and talk shop with the customers. I agree with you, Jude. A lot of them that have 2 people it's that dichotomy.
Yeah. And I know most successful comic book stores I've been to that there's always 2 owners.
Yeah. So, and I don't know what this is supposed to prove. Do you think DC is going to be like, oh no, Pop Comics in Anaheim's not going to stock it? They're going to be like, whatever. I mean, they don't even care about their own company, right?
Which is a shame because, like I said, the first comic I go to is a DC comic when I pop into a comic book store, and then the rest is just fodder. I'll go to the Image, and then I'll go to the Marvel.
Right. Yeah. So I just, not that was earth-shattering industry news, but I thought it was interesting that a comic shop would actually do something that, to me, that's dumb. While we're on the subject of DC Comics and not giving a shit, AT&T doesn't give a shit. And guess what? There's a third wave of layoffs coming for DC.
Yeah, I read this. Yeah.
Maybe they just need to stick to phones and
They
don't know anything about entertainment.
I think you're going to see that, Jude. I think the AT&T is slowly realizing, like, we should have never gotten into
No, it's why are you in the business for? That's not your business, and you're in the business because you had the money.
And apparently, they don't care enough to learn about the businesses they bought.
No.
They don't go and hang out at Warner. They don't go and hang out at DC. They don't care. Yeah. So it started back when they got rid of Dan DiDio early in the year, and then a couple other people, and then this was the first wave that we saw in the summertime in August. And there's some big names on there like Bob Harris, Mark Doyle, Bobby Chase. Andy Curry was the guy who was attacking fans on Twitter, super woke guy, so he got his. And then in that first layoff, they what do you call that? Reappointed, or what do they call that when you shuffle people and you give them new titles? And I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, Michelle Wells is one of the people they named co-editor in chief, and then just mere months later, see ya.
Then
she's gone. So they got rid of a lot of more higher up people, executives drawing big salaries. So now the third one's coming, and apparently it's going to be a lot more people from the young adult section of DC, which is ironic since they just announced that I Am Not Starfire.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I'm guessing this will probably be in mid-January-ish. So probably early in the year, we're going to be reporting on a third wave of layoffs. It's actually a fourth, because if you count all this stuff that happened before COVID, that's one wave. There's two, and then there's three, and then now there'll be another one. So there's not going to be much left. I think what's going to happen by the end of 2021, I think DC is going to be publishing 15 to 20 books.
Well,
And
they
of
cut
the
down.
15 to 20, they will only be 3. There'll be Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman comics, and that is it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already cutting the minor characters like Green Lantern, Flash, Aquaman. I mean, they're trimming the fat, and then
Well, and I
concentrating
know
on books that sell.
they're going to raise the price of certain books to like $5 because they're going to pad them up to like 48 pages because there'll be backup stories. So like Aquaman won't have a book, but you'll buy the Flash, and the first 22 pages is the Flash, and then there'll be a backup story with Aquaman and a backup story with like Starfire or Cyborg or something like that. That's what they're going to do. So they still get their stories out there, and but they put them into one book and they make an extra buck off of it. That's the way it goes. Which might actually, I don't know, it'll save them. Will it save them ultimately? Who knows? I don't know. It's
I always hated that concept of the issue with the backup story, because it's like, well, I really want this story, but I really couldn't care less about the backup story. It was like, now I'm stuck with it.
I don't even like when they have like those anniversary issues, like say
That's
Spider-Man.
the perfect example. Yeah.
And they put out like a 64-page volume, and the main story is the first 22, and then it's all these horrible backup stories.
Horribles, yeah. And it's like $10.
Oh, con guy. It was a reorg. Thank you. It's a
reorganization. That good job.
Yeah, that's what it is. I was drawing a blank. A reorg. Yeah, so they reorged Michelle Wells to editor-in-chief and then canned her 2 months later.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
I remember they always cut from the top. Not the tippity top, but sort of the top.
Well, there's not many people left at the top at DC. Jim Lee is one of them. Is Jim Lee going to be in the next wave?
I don't even understand his role right now there.
I don't think Jim Lee understands his role.
It's like they just have him because of his name. It's like, well, if we get rid of him,
that's exactly what he is.
He's just a
He's
name
the
to the
ambassador
business
of DC Comics. There's not a soul on this planet who does not love Jim Lee. So as long as Jim Lee is there and smiling, everyone feels warm and fuzzy because Jim Lee. Look, I'm wearing his shirt with Jim Lee art on it right now.
Just show up, buddy. Just show up.
Here.
You don't have to say anything. Just show up.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it seems kind of funny, but I think it is for the most part true.
I mean, he could walk in. He could walk into the building in his underwear, and don't worry about it.
And EVS has talked about it ad nauseum. He says Jim Lee is not management material. He doesn't have the stomach for it. He doesn't want to do it.
No,
he's not a guy who's going to go around marching orders and yelling at people, and that's not what he wants to do. Jim Lee's a creative person.
Right. He's going to be like, do whatever the fuck you want. I'll just be in my office.
He's not doing that. What's her name? Marie Javins is doing that right now. Yeah. But Jim Lee is there as just kind of he's the goodwill ambassador. And we've heard it. Like my guy down at the shop says, oh, as long as Jim Lee's there, I'm not worried. So it works. Everyone loves Jim Lee. Come on.
I follow his Instagram, and anytime he posts, and he goes live sometimes and draws. I'm glued to the freaking phone.
I really would. I've never come across a comic book fan who said I hate Jim Lee.
I've waited in line and had him sign a comic, and I just left saying that dude's awesome. Like he's just awesome. A great guy, great personality.
He's a great guy. I don't think there's a comic book fan alive who has any ill will.
No, and super humble. Like he talks to you like you just you've known him for a while.
Well, he started in comics like most like how most people want to start in comics. He's a fan. He was a fan.
Right.
He learned to draw and got his 375 rejection letters before he got hired, but one of the best artists ever. So Pete found this. I guess Pete never fixed his internet because here. Spider-Man is they're changing his costume again, and I guarantee this lasts like 6 months. This is
that much.
This is just horrific. I mean, when they look at this stuff, Jude, I'm going to use your line. When they're sitting in the boardroom and the guy puts this up on the wall,
doesn't anybody say anything?
Are they just afraid to go, that is shit?
My dream is to be on these boards. I really do. And just be like, excuse me, is anybody here agreeing with me that this is shit?
Is it because they work for Disney? Like, that is just shit.
Most of them are just gathered around. They're looking through their Twitter account. They're not even paying attention to what's going on. It's like, whatever. It's like, seriously, I think that's true.
First of all, who thought orange was a good idea for Spider-Man? Oh, I know. And I should have pulled it out. I did when I was 14. I drew a new Spider-Man costume when I was 14, and I used orange.
Because you only had orange because the other crayon.
No, I thought
red
it would be
was
cool.
out.
Yeah,
I thought orange and blue would be a cool new look for Spider-Man.
Maybe they found your old drawing.
You know what? Vamp for a second. I'm going to go pull it out right now. I'll be right
Oh my gosh.
Does he really have it? No.
I think he does. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny.
I think this is like, he's probably right. I don't even know if it's going to last 6 months, but it's just like one of these things where it's like we've hit issue, I don't know, 60 something of this one, and it's a stagnation. Let's try to throw something new out there just to make it.
It kind of looks like Booster Gold, but with a helmet on.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it does.
Like, so they'll keep him in this outfit for the whole run of that comic. Like, it's not just a one.
No, it'll be for a while. It'll be the writer will put in something into the story of why this wound up being, maybe he redesigned it because he had some new technological features. There's a reason why he's wearing it, and then then at some point in the future they'll find a reason why he won't wear it anymore. But
gotcha.
Yeah, it'll be part of the story for a while now.
Okay.
And then it'll get infused with the Spider-Verse. It'll be some kind of part of that.
Yeah, he could have been he discovered some new feature that made him design this. I don't know. I didn't read it, so
without the logo on the front, if you don't look too carefully, it looks like kind of like an alien dude, some kind of like grayish alien dude.
So maybe
yes, yeah.
Maybe you can help me out. So Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man are not continuing their run. They started over at some point, correct?
Amazing's still going.
No, but they stopped.
Well,
and
they
rebooted.
revolume and start
Yes.
over
Yes.
again.
But Spectacular Spider-Man was also the other run, correct?
Yeah, they'll just revolume it. So it's just this is like Spider-Man's on like volume 5 now.
Because it's so confusing. Like I'd be so confused walking into a comic book store and seeing all this Spider-Man stuff. Holy shit!
Nice snap.
Did you date it?
1984. I drew this. I was 15 years old.
Put your camera full screen.
Dun, 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 dun.
Man, that year 1984 is so
holy shit.
That doesn't even look orange. It looks like a reddish orange, but red.
It's very orange. If you were here, you'd see.
Oh, okay.
So this is a costume I made up when I was a teenager.
That's awesome. It looks
That
good.
is.
So,
That's
but I thought orange would be a good idea when I was 15.
Well, like orange is like taking up a lot. This is just like some weird.
Yeah, this is
an outline or something.
I said it was very Booster Goldy.
Or some Tron.
Booster Goldy.
That's what I said. Booster Gold, right?
It's very
just with a helmet.
And this is the giveaway. It says Stark on the screen behind him, so I'm guessing it's a Tony Stark.
It's his
design.
Another stupid Iron Spider kind of thing.
Okay. I guess that would make sense then.
So, yeah, I like when they put exclamation points on sale March 21st. Yeah, I'm like considering not dropping the title now because I don't want to look at this shit. Like, I'm not excited for this crap.
The same color of my beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's IP Spider-Man.
This isn't the first time they've changed Spidey's outfit. They've done it a gazillion times, but
right, yeah.
It's
but
just
it always goes back.
It always goes back. It goes.
They
back
have the black one.
Right.
I like the black one. Looks cool.
The black one's okay. What I like from that is that it was, an alien symbiote and it became Venom and the whole thing. But he's had the Iron Spider, where the legs popped out, like from the movie.
Yeah, my son had that action figure. That spider.
And they've messed with his costume a million times, but this is just horrible design. It's awful. So,
and that's not even a mask. It looks like a helmet.
Exactly.
Or an alien face.
Yeah, like an alien face, like one of those gray aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is kind of creepy.
It is kind of creepy.
Some little kid's gonna be like, ah, run away.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Dustin
maybe.
Weaver. I think your design blows. Whatever. So I got one last story as we fizzle out of 2020.
And after your story, I want you guys to see something I kind of want to pull the trigger on, but I need your opinion on it.
So I saved this for last because I roll.
Oh, of course.
So you seen this? Bridgerton, a newly released British period drama.
I didn't see it.
Will feature a race-swapped version of the real-world historical figure Queen Charlotte, sole wife of former King of United Kingdom George III. What the hell? What the hell? There's a time and a place to do this. I don't mind when they do this sometimes, but when you're going into history and you're all look at this picture. This is not Britain in the
They did that with that movie.
Hamilton.
Whatever Queen of Scott.
Right, Mary Queen of Scots or whatever.
Yeah, they did
You're
that.
right, and Hamilton. They did it with Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton was different though. Like Hamilton kind
was
of
good.
They made a point. They weren't just arbitrarily throwing in different people that didn't make sense to that time period.
And it was done well. They did a good job. They really did.
This is just
yeah.
This is where this is where your ideology is more important than the actual story.
Right.
I love that.
Or being factually correct.
Stop it.
I didn't do it.
Sorry, my cat was attacking me.
Oh, I thought you were yelling at me.
I didn't even know you had a cat, Stacey.
Well, it's the cat's reacting to this. I mean,
she's upset.
I promise I'm not one of those rapey men from Wonder Woman.
Sorry.
Wow, this is bad. And
this is
yeah.
Stunning and brave.
You know she's not British because she's not holding out the pinky too.
Well, I love that whoever shared
Here's
that
the actual woman.
That tweet in our group chat about, and I took a photo of it because it was so spot on. I like the one. I don't know who Clifton Duncan is, but someone shared that. Did you see that?
Clifton Duncan?
Yeah, someone tweeted this
Oh,
in our
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I think Pete sent that. Do you have that handy?
I did. Well, I have it to read it, but I don't have it to send it to you.
What's his name? Clifton Duncan?
Yeah, the $600 man. Like, can I? How can I? Can I?
I'm gonna Google for it. Let's see if I can find it.
It's spot on. It's
It's
amazing.
your Twitter, right?
I don't even know who this guy is. This guy like an actor or something?
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. I loved what he said. It's
Is it
spot
like
on.
there's a date on it, right? From like last week?
December 23rd.
23rd, 20. Oh, it was like a meme, right? Here it is, right here.
Audiences. Nope.
No.
It starts off with audiences don't hate diverse characters.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember that was that was spot on.
It's spot on. Like it was
Let's
on the
see.
December 23rd.
23rd. It wasn't there. Did I just lose him? Clifton. What's his name again? Clifton
Duncan.
Gina Carano. Sorry.
I don't know.
Why does he always end up on the Gina Carano thing? It's like, geez, okay, I get it.
I get it.
Oh no, it's Clifton Duncan, colon, the $600 man. Does he have a different one? Not working title. But it's a guy and it's the same photo. Oh, maybe he just changed it.
He
Yeah.
probably changed it.
Oh, maybe he changed it.
All right.
Working
Did he have to take it down because he got attacked by SJWs?
Yeah,
Oh, here it is. There it is right there.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Perfect.
Audiences don't hate. Well, Stacey, you can read it.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I love it. It's great.
Read it in your best voice.
Audiences don't hate diverse characters. Read it in my what voice?
Your best voice.
Your Harley Quinn voice.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Just kidding.
What they hate is being slammed as bigots for rejecting bad work from pretentious, unskilled activists posing as writers. If the demography of your characters becomes more important than the story, your story will probably suck. This should be made into a poster.
I agree.
Right. Or chiseled
fact,
somewhere in
while we're
Hollywood.
here, screenshot.
Yeah, that's what I have a screenshot of it on my phone because
I'm
it's
keeping that.
it's
And that's
spot on.
And this is, hey Clifton, if you're watching, because I know you are, Exhibit A, right here. This is Exhibit A. So
Yeah.
there's the real woman, and then there she is again, and in that, no, in all the, I guess, what would you call them, handsmaids?
Yeah, something like that.
They look at this. I mean, come on, just stop. I mean, but I'm the bad guy because I'm complaining about it. But
Yeah, and Gal Gadot's got
Is it on now? Is
slammed
it on
for
now?
Cleopatra.
I'll watch
Right.
the first episode. I'm curious now just to see how they explain any of it. Do they explain it? It's just arbitrary.
it's probably just going to be arbitrary. You're just supposed to suspend your disbelief and go with it.
When does this drop?
I think it already has.
Oh, I'll look for
Newly
it.
released. So
Okay.
yeah,
On Netflix.
on Netflix. Boy, oh boy, I don't know. I don't know what year this is supposed to take place, but it says the Regency era of the United Kingdom, a historical period wherein George the third's son ruled the father's steed due to the former's deteriorating mental facilities.
Wow.
Series Queen Charlotte, portrayed by black British actress Golda Rocheville, Silent Night and Dead Boss. The decision to race swap Queen Charlotte was defended by Julia Quinn, the American author whose eponymous books the Netflix series are based on, who asserted that many historians believe she had some African background. Yeah, she probably owned
Okay.
them. It's a highly debated point, and we can't DNA test her, so I don't think there'll ever be a definitive answer.
Wow.
Either way, I mean, come on. Look at the paintings of her, for God's
I
sake.
mean, who knows? I don't know.
Well, I think Clifton is spot on.
I do agree with what he's saying.
There's another good guy. I want to point out. If I can find him here. I can't. I'll find it afterwards. I'm going to try to get him in the next year on our show. He's really cool. He's a writer. He does Midnight's Edge all the time, and he's Muslim, and he kind of says the same stuff that Clifton did. It's like, just if you're putting, it goes back to that. Remember that Star Wars whiteboard we had a long time ago? It was from the I think it was the New Republic TV show they were developing. I don't even know if I saved that graphic, but they got hold of the whiteboard in the writer's room and took a snapshot of it. And they had listed their priorities for the show, and diversity was like number 2, and character development was like number 8.
Oh.
Like, there's your problem right there.
Wow.
Right there. Yeah. Let me see if I can locate it. Probably not, but yeah. I mean, I'm terrible at this. Like, I don't label anything. I just pull it off the internet and whip it up as graphics or whatever. So nothing. I'll have to find it, but it was brutal. So Jude, what do you need help with, man?
Yeah. Oh, so maybe you guys can help me with this. I thought this was a pretty good bargain. I found online. Let me see if I could share it here. And I wanted you guys to tell me what you thought. Are you seeing it?
No.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Whoa.
Oh, look at you. You're going to buy a uniform? You're a dork.
Look at this. I know, I'm a huge dork. But it's the deluxe Commander Picard adult one where you get the actual, you get the little collar and what do you guys think for $30? Free return.
That's a really good for $30.
$30. I don't think you get the trousers, but you get the whole
what?
Trousers.
How old are you? I don't think I've ever used that word.
Wait, hold on a second. That's not genuine.
That's coming
Why?
from. That's coming.
How are there 4 pips for captain, but it's a commander's uniform? Come on.
Well, if you go into the ratings here,
does it say where it's coming from?
I mean, look at these guys. These guys are pretty sharp.
Oh, there it is.
That is the league of people you'll be joining if you buy this shirt.
I know, but I want one so bad.
For $30, that's really good,
$30, dude. For $30.
Do it.
And you get this?
I think we should all do it.
Wow, that's really nice for $30.
That's
Do
what
they
I
have
was
the mustard
saying.
yellow one?
Oh, look at this dude. Look how sharp he looks, dude.
Oh, yeah, his
I mean, I have to lose a little bit of weight.
trousers.
It's the trousers. It's all in the trousers.
You gotta find out where he got his trousers.
Dude, I mean, come on. I would sit at my desk.
They need to make a calendar of these guys. Like, they should be on like a calendar.
A Trek nerd calendar.
Yeah. He's got the COVID mask too. Come on. Does that not? Isn't you want that? That right there.
I want that guy. I mean, that guy right there. It's too. Whew.
Oh, this poor guy. I hope he doesn't watch our show. Well, he looks sharp, right?
Go for it, Jude.
It's a little baggy, but he got the wrong size.
Go for
$30, yeah.
For $30, that's what I was saying. For $30, we should all be dressed up as
Then we'll have to go to a Star Trek convention.
This guy's a little pissed off over his purchase.
I wouldn't wear that.
He didn't get the 80 shoulders.
Why
pad.
is his like that and nobody else's? Like,
I know.
I think his sleeves are a little bit too long in his.
I think
what happened to the trousers?
Size, which would make
he's wearing the wrong trousers.
If he was wearing the proper trousers, it wouldn't look that bad.
That would make it. It's got to be a little bit loose as well, so you can do the famous Picard move where he bunches up the shirt and pulls it down. Yeah.
And look, you can get the science officer, and I mean, come on.
Can you?
I think
you get the yellow? What about the yellow one?
The engineering one.
That's. I mean, does that look
Lieutenant Worf?
For $30?
Security, and engineering.
Yeah. I have a pair of black trousers.
Look, Jude, great fit for big guys.
Right.
That guy looks happy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. For $30, I mean, I got some money from my parents, and I thought I wanted to make some type of investment in an outfit. Like, that looks badass.
But you gotta get the trousers.
You should get the one from the 60s. It's like a mini skirt.
Well, they do have I saw in here.
The Shatner one?
Yeah.
No, that's
the Shatner.
Well,
one
here's the. This is $20.
Space 9.
This looks a little cheesy though for $20.
Yeah.
That doesn't look as good as the.
Yeah, it doesn't have like
it doesn't have the captain stripes on the sleeves or anything.
Right. Looks like pajamas.
Oh, here's the Here's the.
Oh, that was
blue one.
$50.
Yeah, see, look at that. I could be an officer for $30.
Wow.
Yeah.
And $50 would be a science officer.
Ruby's makes theatrical quality, like the theater costumes, so it should be good. Go for it.
You got to wear it though on the show.
I could just get this one.
Does he come with it?
Do the boobs come with it?
Oh,
just ship her in the box with it.
So
Lieutenant Uhura.
I like all these questions too. You know, I always read the. You guys do this? Do you read the questions?
I do a lot of it. Yeah,
I do.
The questions too. This guy said it was horrible quality.
Uh-oh.
Sweet uniform for the price. For $30. Come on, man, for the price.
I'm always curious though, like when you read like the reviews and some of the things are like really good and then the other ones are like, this is terrible. It's like crooked. Like why? Are they coming from the same place? Like or are the good ones fake reviews? Like I never know. Like
I know.
You're always taking it.
I've seen where they blame like it came all banged up. Well, that could be the carrier, like
right. That's not necessarily the
Yeah, sometimes their reason for giving it a low score is it isn't really fair.
I agree. And Amazon has a great return policy. If it sucks, just send it back.
This one says free returns.
Yeah.
There you go. Then do it.
Go
$31.
And you can wear it on our first 2021 stream.
There you go. Get it, Jude. Do it.
And you don't even have to see my trousers.
You gotta wear the trousers though. Like it's not the outfit.
It's not the same.
Without the trousers.
I just was randomly looking at Star Trek stuff online, and I saw that, and I was like, $30? That looks great.
So funny.
Anyway,
well,
thank you for helping with that.
Yeah, I say go for it. So here's I found it. If you're holding out hope that Disney Star Wars can be turned around, you should stop. This whiteboard from a High Republic writer's room brainstorm session should dispel any notions of that.
Surprise.
This is from, this is up in February, but I guess that was about the time it popped. It was like the beginning of the year. So they have it in 3 columns here in fiction. So they have diversity 3rd, feelings 5th, relatable characters 2nd from the bottom.
What?
What the heck is at the bottom? Sweeping what?
Sweeping
epic.
epic.
Okay. Humor. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because they're not funny at all. So.
And then, in your Star Wars show with wars in the name, not pro-war.
with a heart next to it.
Droid
scope, mythic, lightsaber battles, no main character, the Force, complicated monsters. And then Star Wars wishes. This column's awesome, too. So High Republic, Relic Hunters, University, dinosaurs.
What the
dinosaurs, 4th on the list for Star Wars wish list. Representation, diversity. What's that say? Arthurian legends, rival houses, Sith Empire, Chaos agents, splinter group, Force users.
Wow.
Feelings. That's what feelings.
I think this is more of the Star Trek. Whiteboard,
yeah,
they got to apparently sit around and discuss their feelings.
Discovery's got that down pat.
Yeah. So but I always found it funny they put diversity and feelings above relatable characters. Relatable characters should be the first and foremost thing.
Absolutely. Surprise is important.
Surprise is more important than relatable characters. Authentically lived in. So they're more concerned about the environments that they put these characters in than the actual characters that they're putting in the environments. Yeah. This was a good one. It was like, what the hell? Luckily, that show never got made. I don't think, right? No, it was going to be a cartoon, right? High Republic. Did that get made?
I want to say
what that was. Okay.
I want to say not yet, but
I thought it was in general. I didn't realize it was this.
Well, it wasn't part of their announcement day either, and they weren't talking about like, oh, and we're going to continue to produce the. So, who knows? But yeah. All right, that's all I got. What do you got, Stacey? You said you had something.
Oh, nothing. No. I don't have anything.
Nothing.
That seemed like a really quick response.
No, nothing at all.
No, but you said before we started the show
No, I didn't know if we were gonna like kind of pick things from the year that we're gonna talk about, like that interest us or whatever.
Oh.
whatever.
Well, I had the same problem you had. I actually thought it'd be easier, and then I went, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you mean the end of year thing?
Yeah.
Like stories that were like huge this year.
Yeah.
I mean, there were plenty of them, but there was nothing that was like.
This year was kind of a bust. The whole year was a bust.
Now, where do you get that idea?
Yeah.
Seriously, come on, man.
It was the year of streaming, especially because of COVID. And I think that was like kind of the point. Like, I'm so proud of myself that I got through all of 2020 and I never watched one episode of The Tiger King. I feel very proud about that.
There you go.
I did not fall into that trap. It was disgusting. Like, I just hearing about it, and like my son was watching it and he was telling, I'm like, I'm just horrified of what they do to these animals, and like I don't even care about the story of the stupid people because they choose the situations they put themselves into. Right. Those poor animals being like, I don't know, that bothers me, so I couldn't ever watch it. But anyway,
I forgot about that was a trendy thing this year.
It was.
I actually want to talk about the real quick the bombing at the AT&T building on Christmas Day in Nashville. As it turns out, it was some kooky old guy afraid of 5G network.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I mean, have they said that definitively yet? Like, I think there's
but they're pretty.
Yeah,
and at least he wasn't trying to hurt people. I mean, that's kind of a thing, at least.
Which I wasn't sure. Like at first, I was thinking, and listening to stuff on the way home after we saw Wonder Woman, it sounded like that warning was to more draw people out of the building to the street, blow them up. I thought it was more of a trap.
I don't know, but like, were there actual gunshots? They like an hour before the bombing, there were supposedly gunshots fired
all over the place.
But like, was that real or was that a recording?
I don't know.
He
haven't followed it close enough. I know that he was afraid of
5G.
I guess being spied on, and my solution to that is don't buy a cell phone.
Yeah, go live in the woods.
Well, I think he was definitely broadcasting from his RV out in the public, and he was warning people to stay back, and he had a bomb.
It was like 6 a.m.
Yeah, and he was playing music too. He had like a playlist, I guess it was just I think the biggest problem with the internet right now, and especially this year, is there's so much conspiracy theory stuff. The minute something drops, a story drops, there's like people that automatically read into it in some far-fetched reality. I don't know. They come up with these stupid things. But
we're headline readers.
Right. But, it's like the minute something happens, they're like, well, it must be this and it must be that. And they're lying to us. And, I feel bad because there's a lot of people out there that can't think. They don't really, I don't know, they believe this stuff. And then, of course, crap like this happens. So, it's sort of like a blurred line of misinformation and how people receive stuff. It's kind of scary. Like, I never got the QAnon stuff. I mean, I've read QAnon stuff, but I never understood it. I'm like, what? People are eating children and stuff? I'm like, what the hell?
I was actually worried that this was going to start a trend next year where we'd see people doing this. I thought it was more of like an Antifa kind of thing, or but as it turns out, it's just some random nut job. So I think, I don't think 2021 is going to be
right.
A lot of people have these high hopes that it's going to be a great year and all this will be behind us, and I think it's going to be part B of this, for at least for a while. So I don't. Everybody's hoping to cleanse themselves in a couple days, and I don't see that happening right away.
If social media shuts down and doesn't exist, maybe we could.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I was thinking about that today. I actually was driving today, and I thought to myself, you know what? I feel like I want to unplug just for God knows how long I can do it.
It's funny. Like, I always liken it to. I remember like when I was a kid in like this 80s, I'd see bumper stickers on people's car that would say "Kill your TV," and I never understood what that meant. And now I feel like it's like disconnect from the bullshit. Like, just disconnect. Like, seriously, but that's feeding. This is what feeding the monster. It's
right. And I just feel like when you try to get into something online, you get bombarded with everything else. So your focus is on one thing, and all of a sudden it's like constant. Like,
I said that to Angelo last night. He's finally, he's like, Twitter's ridiculous, and he's like, I try to go on and I follow this handful of Star Trek people and this and that, and and that's all I go on there for. And I'm like, right, but in sifting through to find their posts, you got to read hate 100 hate posts before you get to Oh, there's a new Blu-ray coming out next week.
You got to sift through the garbage in order.
So that's so the point. Like, why would 2020 being over make anything else?
Well, because everybody wants the COVID to be gone.
No, I get that, but like the nastiness is like on such a high level of in every aspect of life now. It's like people are just.
Meanwhile,
their first reaction is to be nasty.
Meanwhile, my daughter keeps making memes and sending them to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Everybody plays that game. What is that game? What's it called?
Among Us.
You play it's like a whodunit type thing?
Yeah. And actually, I could share a quick story with you. I think I'm doomed in about 6 years.
Uh-oh.
I play with Avery when we Skype and stuff, and she's genius. Have you played this game, Among Us?
I've heard about it, but I haven't played it.
Basically,
Abby plays it all the time. I should try it then.
It's fun. So basically, there's 10 little colored aliens, and you're on a spaceship, and depending on the level, there could be up to 3 imposters. Normally, it's 1 imposter, and the one person you're named the imposter, and your job is to go and sabotage the ship and kill the other characters without getting discovered. Well, she was named the imposter one night, and she goes, "Watch this, Dad. I'm gonna win without killing anybody." And I'm watching, and she's really, it's scary how manipulative. So she'll go and she'll sabotage the oxygen tank, and then she runs around the other way and comes in and fixes it as if she's a normal player. She goes, "Now watch. I'll go in where they're all going to fix it. I'll go in there and fix it with them. They'll think I'm okay." And then they start calling these emergency meetings, and they're like, "Who's this?" And she starts turning them against each other. One by one, she systematically turns them in. So what happens is you vote for who you think is the imposter, and then they shoot them out the airlock.
Oh my gosh.
And they float away into space and die. And it says, and one by one, they're like, green was not the imposter. Purple was not the, and she's laughing. She didn't kill anybody until it got down to her and 2 other people. And she's like, "Watch this." They spawn in the middle of the room. So all 3 of them spawn, and she stabs the orange guy next to her, and wins the game. I was like, I'm dead when she's a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is this
watching her turn these people? She would just say, they go, she's like, "Oh, I saw this person do that's awfully suspect," and it would work. And she's telling me last night, she goes, "Dad, I think the people that play Among Us are mental midgets."
No, she did not.
Yes, she did.
Oh my
She's
God.
like, she goes, I can watch this. And she was doing it again last night. She's like, "Well, I could get them all fighting with each other. Watch this."
She's playing like actual people, or is the game like
It's online. You're playing actual people.
There's other people playing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Is this
She
a
knows
tablet
exactly
game,
what
or
to say to these people.
Like, do you play on your phone? Do you play on a tablet? Do you play on
anything? Tablet, computer.
Oh, so it's all it's all
And then they have these emergency meetings, and you go into a chat, and you accuse each other basically. And she's so good at it. She wins all the time.
That's funny.
It's scary. But yeah.
Well, I'd like to say the best part of 2020 is that we started this.
Yes.
Virtually.
Well, this
Right?
part has to be virtually.
Right.
Unless we all want to get in one room and
That'd be a little weird.
yeah.
No, I know, but I think there's an influence. I mean, this
I agree.
2020 was the year of the Zoom, or the year of the online
Conference.
meetings,
Yeah. Yep.
conferencing. So this was sort of a spin-off of that, and I think
Yeah, it started with pizza and pop culture. Back before COVID hit, we started the pizza and pop culture thing. Because the idea behind that was that when you go to Angelo and George's Pizza Shop, Eastside Pizza in Wallingford, Connecticut, for anybody who's listening still,
Greek pizza, good.
and you go in there, and it becomes like it's like Cheers. And everyone, the customers, the employees, everyone just starts talking about stuff, and you sit there for hours having these conversations. And I said to Angelo, we should do a podcast that captures that here. And he liked the idea, and we did 1 episode before COVID.
Ugh.
And then it went to Zoom, and then we were using an empty restaurant next door to record, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working toward the end for various reasons. But we decided to get done and rethinking. And in the rethinking, in the meantime, I've been watching all the YouTube channels, which is where I got a lot of my information from. And I'm like, there we go. And I got the idea through this idea of having a network instead.
Right.
And doing the YouTube stuff, continuing the podcast, writing blogs, just doing a complete thing.
Yep.
And that's where Geek Time came from. So we've been at this actually 2 months as of last week. So we've not been around a long time, but we've seen a lot of growth in a really short amount of time, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and even now it's live, but before it was just a podcast. So now we've grown into doing a live cast.
Right.
So that's pretty big.
That and we were doing some of that with Pizza Pop Culture, and it didn't seem to fit when we were doing YouTube stuff under the guise of the podcast. So this way, in the way we structure it, so that we have Geek Time Radio, which is the podcast, and we have the Geek Time TV and Geek Time Press. So, all this stuff to do, and, just try to create content. And with more content comes more potential sponsorships and things like that down the road. So it's just building the brand. It's going to take a long time. Especially you listen to all the guys, Nerdrotic and Doomcock and the Critical Drinker and all those guys. They started their channels 5 to 6 years ago, and it took 2 to 3 before they were monetized. And then once they hit that 1,000 subscribers, once they got that monetization, it just explodes. And what's really nice about those guys is on their Friday Night Tights show, they will promote a channel that has about 300 to 500 subs that needs to get to that 1,000. And they'll get them for them that night.
That's cool.
So I'm hoping by this time next year, we'll be ready to ask them for their help, and overnight we'll be monetized. So we got to get, I'd say 300, and I'll reach out to them and ask them, and then they'll push it on their show on Friday night, and we'll have it. They'll get us the 1,000 like in minutes. So yeah, it's fun. So
yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to meet up with my friends and talk pop culture.
Absolutely.
So, and it was great seeing you guys at the movies.
I know. Too bad it was cool. We could have chatted, but
I know it was way too cold. I would have done the after movie chat, but once that wind kicked in, I was like, "That's it, I'm done."
Yep.
It dropped like 30 degrees while we were in there.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Literally.
So that was
all right. Well, this is going to be our last show of the year, 2020.
And don't forget,
I'm going to restructure the site. Actually, I'll call this season 1, and when we come back next year, we'll have season 2.
Okay.
For 2021, and
yeah, don't forget, I did my review of Pimp Daddy Destro.
Yeah, let's get that up there today, tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and hey, Edson, how did your daughter like the Harley Quinn vinyl?
Yes, what happened was they were away when you dropped it off. So I snuck out there, I got it, and I'm like, here's what I'm gonna. She wasn't sure she was getting it, so I wrapped it up, and then I was like, from to Abby from Geek Time TV.
Aw, that's nice.
That's awesome.
I love that. That's
yeah,
great.
he likes it.
Yeah, it's cool.
You're probably watching right now. Hi, Abby.
Very cool. Very cool.
She might be, or she might be working on her schoolwork, but
hey, she could do a review for us if she liked it that much.
Absolutely.
I'll ask her. She's a little shy, but yeah, we could do it.
My daughter asked for a video editing program for Christmas, so
yeah.
I'll have a little helper here soon.
Yeah, sounds like she will.
Editor.
Nice. There you go.
So before we sign off, let's go around the horn. What do you recommend to listen to, watch, read?
I've said it a couple times in this live stream. I've been watching Enterprise, and I remember when it came out. I think 2001 was it?
Yes,
was it then?
2001, okay. And I just kind of got out of college at that point, and I ended up going for an interview at a place called Moving Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in with a very bad demo reel, which I thought at the time was really good. And as I walked in, I had to wait in the waiting room, the lobby for the owner, which I forgot his name. Keith,
Jim Kademski.
Thank you. And Steve
Lovelace. Yes.
Steve Lovelace walked in and was talking with somebody else, and they were talking, and they said, "Did you see the premiere episode of Enterprise last night?" And Steve was like,
Ken Harper.
What's that?
Ken's a huge Trekkie. I work with Ken now.
Right.
Ken Harper. Yeah.
And I was probably, I don't even think I was 21. And I was sitting in the lobby, and they were talking about the premiere episode.
You okay, Steve?
And yeah.
Wasn't that funny?
And they were saying how great it was, and I never got to watch it. And then all these years I've been watching reruns of all the Next Gen, and all the reruns of Deep Space, and never got to it. And finally, I said, you know what? I got to get to it sometime. And how many years later?
Yeah.
So I got through probably the first 5-6 episodes, and I definitely like the Vulcan character there. Yeah, and she's.
You like her cat suit, that's why.
Did you see in the first episode where they had to put the cream on their skin after coming off that planet?
Yeah, that was.
And it's like almost borderline.
Yeah, it was a little raunchy.
It was really raunchy,
for Star Trek.
and she's yeah. Anyway, but I like the play with that. Like I like how she's on the ship, and there's sort of this back and forth with her and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, they don't quite trust the Vulcan.
They don't trust her, and she's sort of along with the ride because she has, obviously that was the agreement. And yeah, it's good. I mean, like I said, I'm only about 5-6 episodes in, and it's better than I thought it was going to be.
Edson will tell you, if you like T'Pol, skips to season 4 and watch a 2-parter called
The Mirror Universe episodes. She changes her outfit a little bit.
She's gorgeous. I don't even know
Skip right to that episode then.
I don't even know who she is. I don't even know the actor's name, but she is
Jolene Blaylock is her name.
Blaylock,
yeah.
Sorry.
Edson, what do you recommend?
Well, I finished the World War Z drama. That was great. I know we mentioned it last time. Just watched a movie the other day. Can't really recommend it. Wonder Woman 1984, and
neither can we.
I'm not.
And Jude, did you see they pulled up the third season of Cobra Kai to January 1st?
I know. Did you?
I was going to recommend. I wanted to recommend that.
I know. I can't wait. Once it
the
drops,
show itself,
I'm on it.
Obviously, because I've only seen the first 2 seasons, but I'm anxious to see the third season.
I don't go back to work until the 3rd, so if I can watch the whole thing in 2
You're
days.
gonna watch.
I think it's the 4th, Monday the 4th.
Oh, I
no,
thought they pulled
the 3rd.
up to like the
No, they said it was the 1st, didn't they? Because they had the actual commercial.
No, Monday. You're right. I meant going back to work.
Oh, going back to work.
Monday.
Oh, maybe it's the 3rd or the 4th. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably wind up watching I'm trying to pace myself, but maybe I don't know if I will do that.
I'll probably kill it in 2 days. It's one of those stupid things. Like I did that with Stranger Things. I watched the whole 2nd season in 1 day, man, and that was pretty rough, but I did it. And I don't regret it at all. I mean, part of me says you're a freaking loser, but I
No, I'm just sad. I do that too, but then I'm sad when it's
because it's over. It's like
then you're like, oh man, I miss
That's
it.
why I kind of like how The Boys or Mandalorian are weekly. You gotta wait.
Yeah.
Jude, are you gonna wear your Star Trek uniform and trousers while you watch it?
Only whenever.
Would you guys be embarrassed if I wore that in public around you guys?
No,
I would
I'd be
love
fine
that.
with it.
I think you should.
My friend Dan wore one of those around Vegas one year. We went to the Star Trek experience.
Yeah.
And I went to meet him and his wife with Christy, and we showed up, and Dan was in that uniform. And I looked at Dan's wife, and I said, "You let him out like this?" And she's like,
It's Vegas. Yeah.
It's Vegas.
Yeah, right. That's not the weirdest thing you'll see, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did he have trousers on?
As long as he
did.
has
He had
trousers.
the full Captain Picard thing. Then.
Come on, people still say trousers.
90-year-olds.
No, come on.
Nice going, Boomer.
How about some dungarees? You got a pair of those?
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Then you could go sit on the Davenport and watch the television.
Listen, I like the word trousers. Okay,
That's a good word. I'm gonna start using it.
Stacy, what do you recommend for us?
I watched the other day Kingsman: Golden Circle.
Okay, that's the sequel, right?
Yeah, I liked it. I don't know if is it a comic book?
It is.
It is.
It is? Okay. I saw the first one and like the last scene was really gross. That's all I really remember from it, but it's actually I really liked this one. It was really good.
Cool.
And I watched Soul today, like we had mentioned earlier, to definitely watch it.
What'd you watch?
Soul.
Oh, Soul. Yeah.
I definitely want to see that. That's on the list.
Me too.
That was good. I'll watch it again.
I'm gonna recommend. Well, first I have to cop to something. If you promise not to laugh.
I make no promise.
Can't laugh more than trousers.
Right.
The other night, for whatever reason, I just didn't feel like watching a movie. And I was kind of bored. And I'm just going through the stupid streaming app on the Roku. I'm looking at all of the apps. And I'm like, I never signed up for Peacock. I'll just do that. So I sign up for Peacock and I go in there. And guess what was in there? A little show I like to call Saved by the Bell.
Oh, the new one or the old one?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the rub. Okay. So first I watched one of the old ones. And I took one of the later season ones, like toward the end, when they were a little older. It was awful. But I used to sit there and watch that for hours.
I did too, yeah.
Here's the thing.
I'm like, well, there's a new one. So then I watched the pilot. I shut it off halfway through. It is so ridiculously woke. It is.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know they re-released. They did a new version of it.
Well, I was curious because Mario Lopez, Zach, they're all on it.
Mm-hmm.
Even Elizabeth Berkley, Elizabeth Berkley, they hide behind a desk because she's so big.
Oh,
really? Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, she sits behind her desk. Lopez looks the same.
Yeah, it does.
He looks the same. And it's funny because Zach. It started off okay because Zach's the governor of California and he's a moron.
Oh, fun.
Well, there you go.
$10 billion out of the education budget, and so now they have to take the kids from the poor districts and send them to the nice schools. And that's how it sets it up. But then they go, and it's just like one cliche woke trope after another. So they get the big black kid who looks like he should be on the football team, but he's in the glee club instead. And the girl goes out for the football team, and she's the bestest ever. It's right then when Mario Lopez said, "You're better than anyone on my team." I went, "Yeah, I'm done." And then there's a trans character, and then there's a activist girl, and of course they're all attacking Zach's son because he's the white guy. And I was just like,
that doesn't sound like Saved by the Bell.
It wasn't even funny.
No.
It was awful. But what I did get hooked on was Saved by the Bell, the college years, and I'm almost done. I've watched almost all of them.
Yeah,
I like that one because it's actually more adult. Like
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Kelly Kapowski.
No, they did
with the professor.
Right.
Yeah,
they did a wedding show. I think that was one of the last episodes.
That was right after they get engaged in the very last episode.
Yeah. I mean, the show was terrible. The show was terrible, but for some odd reason,
the one wasn't that bad. It's actually like a normal sitcom.
The jokes are witty. I don't know why. There's something witty about the comedy.
Well, they had Zach always broke the fourth wall, and he was such an asshole. Like he's such a selfish, and he's always scheming. So yeah, I got hooked on that, but that's not what I'm recommending because I know that was awful. I recommend, not that I recommend this, but I watched this.
I didn't even know it was a thing. I have two versions of the book, but
this is very cool. And I got this for Edson.
Yep.
This is something you can only do. I picked it because this is only something you can do on physical media. They give you the digital code, but it's all laid out linearly. This one, it keeps branching. So it gets to a point in the story and you're like, oh, does Robin live? Does Robin die? Does Batman save Robin? And based on what you choose, then it goes into another one. Like now you have to make more choices, and then you have to make two more, and then two more.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was what a cool experience. So, and that's something you cannot do with streaming or
that's true.
Streaming.
I have a question for you guys. Do you guys remember reading the issue or reading it when you got to that panel of him where Robin's laying in the rubble?
Yep.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, my brother, he bought it, and then I read it, and that was the first time I ever saw real death in a comic book besides Craven killing himself.
Well, Gwen Stacy was the first big death in comics, but I
well,
remember
Craven for me was the first. They show that scene where he's in the coffin or whatever, and you see the shotgun and the blood. That was disturbing, and I was young when that happened. But Death in the Family really was heart wrenching.
And then the weirdness of life. Who knew that 35 years later we'd end up friendly with the guy who did that, who greenlit that, Denny O'Neil.
Yeah, and
strange place. So, well, I wish you all a happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
I have no clue what people are going to do for the New Year. I mean, how are people going to hang out? I'm not going to any parties.
Watch
No way.
Twilight Zone all night. What?
Right.
Don't you normally do that on New Year's?
Well, I usually go over
this year is the Twilight Zone.
I usually go over the same person's house every year, and this year I doubt highly if they're going to do anything. So,
you know what I usually do on New Year's? I'm usually asleep before 10 o'clock. So I could care less. I hate New Year's. To me, the advancing of years does not give me. I don't want to party. If we were going backward in time and I was getting younger, bring it on. But I'm going forward in time and getting older. So fuck.
Are they going to do something at Times Square?
Oh, right.
People aren't going to show up this year at Times Square.
Might be like some virtual thing or something.
Yeah.
No, but I wonder if people are just going to make their own party at Times Square and just
I
show
never
up.
understood. You know what's funny? I used to date a girl. Her birthday's January 1st. And she would be all whoop, whoop on New Year's Eve. And I was always the party pooper on New Year's Eve because I just hate it. And then the next day I'd be like, hey, happy birthday. Shut up. I'm like, you hypocrite. What the hell?
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. So that's all I got. Anybody got anything else?
I did I mention my Destro?
Once or twice.
My Pimp Daddy Destro review that's dropping maybe tonight. If we can get it uploaded.
Nice. Oh, Patty Jenkins has one last thing to say.
Behind the scenes footage, I'm like, oh my God.
What's up with the outfit?
I don't know. She was that's actually, she was saying that about the first Wonder Woman. So,
you know what? I feel like I've got to go see the first one again right now.
I do too.
I think I'm going to watch it tonight. Actually, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
I watched it like a couple weeks ago.
I need to rinse and repeat.
Little prep.
Yep.
Yeah, I just hadn't watched it in a long time.
And you're going to see when you watch it, just the overall look, the cinematography, the edit, everything. It
You're
makes
right.
the new one look like a TV show.
Yeah. Thinking about it more. I definitely see what you're saying.
So
Think about that. No, this movie didn't even have that scene. Every movie has a scene, like a climactic scene, a scene that defines the movie. For the first Wonder Woman, it's that No Man's Land scene where she goes across no man's
That's it.
with the shield. That was incredible and
First thing I
powerful.
think of.
In this movie, I don't know.
Yeah.
She hopped in bed with Steve Rogers or Steve Trevor that wasn't Steve Trevor.
You know what you know what you can look for online, Stacy?
Trousers?
Yeah. What do you think? Look at
Oh.
for $13 you can get a Wonder Woman
Golden
lasso of
lasso?
truth.
By the way, did she ever use the lasso to have someone tell the truth in this movie?
At the end, right?
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. Yeah, she had it around his ankle and
Oh, okay.
made him renounce.
Yeah.
Which I love that everyone in the world is like, I renounce my, like, people don't talk like that.
Yeah.
They'd be more like, I take it back, yo.
I had a Wonder Woman costume, with a plastic mask when I was little, and I had Wonder Woman underoos.
Wow.
You got the nice
There you go.
hair. You'd be a good Wonder Woman.
I loved her because, again, I said before, she had my Wonder Woman had dark hair and blue eyes, and her name is Diana. Obviously, my middle name's Diane, so I felt a connection with Wonder Woman when I was a little girl.
Look at these socks. Jesus.
You know what? To save that movie, they should have had a cameo, a Bruce Wayne cameo saying, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, I have to let you go. Because his wish for her to come back. I don't know.
You can get a belt that lights up.
Look at that.
Nice.
Wonder Woman.
No trousers?
No trousers.
No.
Wonder Woman doesn't wear trousers, so.
Right.
But still, the
All
deals
right.
are to be had online here.
I know, right?
I always wanted to dress up like Black Widow. I was going to
Which
trust anyone.
Which watch that movie, smoke this one.
What?
And I have low expectations for Black Widow.
Yeah, I have low expectations.
Well, it's like an origin story, right? It's her like.
Yeah, it's a prequel. We know her fate.
Yeah.
But I watch it'll be so much better. So, all right, gang.
Okay, so we held out to the 3-hour mark, so that was good.
There you go.
I thought it'd be shorter this week. What do I know?
I was pushing the show to go 3 hours.
Pushing, huh?
Yeah,
I was. Because that's what we do I think we do typically 3 hours. So
we typically do, yeah.
And we miss Pete, so
yeah,
we'll see Pete in the new year.
Sorry, Pedro.
Till next year.
And nobody took us up on jumping in. They could have come on the show.
I know.
Clay was in the chat, and Doug and Brian. None of them.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year, 2021. Get over the fear. Jump in the pool. All right, who wants to say it?
I'm terrible at saying it.
Say see you next year.
Oh, yeah. See you next year. There we go.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure you click the little bell icon to be notified anytime someone from our show drops new content here. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?